We're live.
Hey, people. Coming to you live from the one and only God TV Radio. We're going to be premiering to you tonight on 103.9 Brett FM. One Brett Keane original hit. With one Stephen Bolin presenting. Stephen, take it away.
All right. Welcome to Proverbs Guys Ministries. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Andrew. I'm glad you guys came out for this really cool episode. I'm getting to interview a very good friend of mine. And I want to I'm about to play a song for you guys from his album. It's a really cool song. I listened to it a couple times. I think you guys will dig it too. And that's going to be his bat call to come on to the show. But I wanted to just give you a brief history first of Proverbs Guys Ministries. We, as some of you know who have been with us for a long time, we're not always Proverbs Guys Ministries. We didn't always have 9 hosts with 9 different shows going on through the week. Originally, it was just Stephen Andrew with Proverbs 27:17. And I was very new to YouTube, and I was very bad at YouTube. And none of the major Christians in my life who were on YouTube had a lot of time to spend with me, so they taught me virtually nothing. Whereas Mr. Brett Keane took me under his wing and taught me virtually everything I ever knew about YouTube and podcasting and running live open panels. The entire Lions Dens that we do, where we encourage the atheists to come engage with us, all modeled after the way Brett Keane did his show. So I just want to give a special thanks to Brett for taking that time and showing me what I know and allowing me to be able to grow into what Proverbs Guys Ministries is today. I can honestly say if it wasn't for Brett's help early on, Proverbs Guys would not look anything like it does today. It would be a really poor production. So thank you, Brett. I want to go ahead and play this song that he produced. It's one of the songs on his album. So I want you guys to go check out all the songs on the album. I have it posted in the description of this interview episode. But without further ado, I am going to step backstage and play this song, and I hope you guys all really enjoy it.
Brett's got a great singing voice.
You hear that kazoo, Brett? That means you can't copyright claim this video, you piece of shit. That's right! Anyway, let's keep going.
Alright, we get the point.
Wait, you get the point? You don't want to listen to 5 more minutes of this?
Of this AI slop? Not really.
Yeah, really? I mean, like, you haven't... I heard somebody said earlier that they were like, I can't tell if it's Brett singing this or not. I heard that unironically from somebody at some point. And that, to me, is really the defining... Is that you and the kazoo again, Big Bad Mama? Or is that you?
That's my color commentary.
That's her Thank you. I appreciate it. Deviant, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I was trying to play on kazoo.
Oh, were you?
I played a little ukulele.
Yeah, but I can't. Yeah, he also has a guitar, but I'm not sure which end of this thingamajig I'm supposed to blow.
The one that makes the noise.
The wide end. The wide end.
Whichever end of his thingy-jig, I'm sure he'll be grateful. But, is Proverbs guy breaching the Batman logo at the top? Right?
That's correct. That's the Brett call, except it doesn't look like a manatee last I checked. I don't think manatees have wings. Maybe there's been an evolutionary pathway that I wasn't made aware of that made it so that they do. But AJ, I want to get your opinion as far as Brett Keane is concerned. On a scale of like 1 to 100, where 1 is like, your average Brett Keane slop, and 100 is like actually watchable content. Where would you put that song you just listened to, buddy?
Probably around an 11.
An 11? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. But that's not why we're here. We're not here for Brett's low effort AI slop. Even though I'm going to go back really quick and I'm going to play a quick snippet of it, if only so that Big Bad Mama and Deviant can duet on the kazoo together. I just request that, if only for one moment, could you two do a duet and show us what real music is by comparison? That sounds like a yes to me.
Further from the shore,
Who's on the Genoese lute right now? Yes. The port of Genoa, 1405. It was a time of splendor.
My children need wine.
With a mac and cheese flowing abundantly through the streets of Genoa.
I just married my wife at 14 years old.
It was a better time, a simpler time. No.
I think I would have done better with the theremin. Because this is just a full scale. I did get some sound into it, but the real sound you heard was actually soot, because
it was an excellent there's the debate on what art is, but I think that we've settled here once and for all that whatever we just produced right there settles that definition a lot better than whatever slop Brett just put out. So, with that being
I
said,
think so.
with that being said, let's get to the actual reason why we're here, which is to watch this ball washing interview that Steven has prepared for Brett. One-on-one, from one grifting internet scam artist to another. We're going to watch these two pretend like they're halfway decent for the span of 56 minutes and 26 seconds. Live on Gangster Ghost.
All right. Was that not an awesome song or what?
Hey, what you up to, man? Good.
Hey, how have you been, Mr. Brett Keane?
Really, Brett? After all this time, like Brett hasn't made an appearance in a while, as far as like coming out and doing a major interview. I was expecting him to come back with some joie de vivre. You know, old school Brett would have been like, hey, everybody, how's it going? It's the motherfucking manatee in this biatch, or something like that. You know, like
It's Crazy Taxi with Brett Keane.
It's Crazy Taxi with Brett Keane. No, instead he's just like, hey, man, how's it going? It's like, holy shit, Brett, you really fell off, didn't you? Anyways.
Been doing pretty good. Tired today. Had to do a lot of work on graphic design and dealing with.
I'm tired. I had to sit up today. I had to sit up. I thought about, going outside for half a minute, but then I realized that I was banned from the FAA from going outside of my house by downing every jetliner in the area. So I actually decided to stay in my mattress instead.
With some nonsense, but besides that, I'm happy to be here. What's up?
Are you utilizing Canva?
Canva?
Canva. It is an all-in-one multi-purpose tool, and there's a free version that you can try out. You really need to give it a go.
I'll have to check it out. Some kind of, I think I heard of something, some kind of paint program.
Well, it does a lot more than that. It's a fascinating multi-tool, but you can even do video editing on it. But we'll check that out later. First of all, let's dig into your music, man. So you have 20 songs posted on the God TV Radio YouTube channel. How many songs do you have on all the albums? How much music's out there?
Well, if you check out my website, which is one of the first links that you put in your description, there's almost...
You know what? I was going to let it go. But I can't let it go. Steven, that was a shitty opening to an interview, dude. That was really bad. Like, could you imagine just pretend for a moment that he was like interviewing somebody that was like actually like noteworthy or like decent or like known for something besides being a piece of shit for the last 10 years or something like that? You know, like if he had somebody of worth on there, I think the first question that he would have probably wouldn't be, yeah, so have you ever used Canva before? That's like you have Jimi Hendrix up for an interview, right? And the first thing that you ask him is like, so what kind of pick do you use for your guitar, Jimmy? What do you think is the one that you use personally?
Especially since he's been gone for so long off the internet. It's like,
but
what have you been up to?
But we know why he does that, because no one is as important and interesting to Stephen Bolin as Stephen Bolin himself. Which is why he's asking this, because he's going to tell Brett Keane, oh, it's amazing. Oh, I have this. I can teach you. Yeah. Just to up
so
himself.
Much, I know about streaming now too, Brett. Look at me. And Brett's like,
oh, God, I have the best. I paid $800,000 each week for it, but it's worth it.
Bowman is honestly channeling Michael Scott in this interview. Like, there's several awkward moments.
Yeah, like I think he was expecting Brett in that moment to be like,
wow, Steven, that's really insightful in the situation. What can you do with Canva or whatever?
But instead, Brett's like, what is it? Is that like an art thing? Anyway, he like just turns it off.
Say practically 40 tracks. there's the other 20 are waiting to be put on CD. The one you just heard is recently on a jewel case CD and a sleeve case.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I'm pulling this
What's the
up
significance
now
of
so
that?
we can share it with the
Fascinating.
audience.
Waiting
and
for you
help
to
plug
put a
it.
CD burner in.
Correct link you were talking about?
That's
All
what's
right. Let me share this. All right. Ooh, okay. So this is where you can buy the CD, guys. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy the shirts, YouTube channel. All the links here posted. We'll accept all.
Do you think this is one of Brett's conditions for going on the interview? He's like, yeah, I'll go on your interview for your shitty YouTube channel, but you gotta plug my irrelevant bullshit first.
I don't think so, to be honest. This video is such rote ass kissing by Bolin that I think he just did it voluntarily.
Wow. That's even, how is that somehow worse than in the scenario that I just came up with?
A lot of albums. Now, music's not new to you though, Brett, right? You've been doing music for what, 15 years or more?
I was doing music a lot whenever I was a younger man, and then I slowed down, got out of it for a little bit, started writing books and such. I even got one of my books selling on the side as well, and yeah, took a break from.
Yeah. The books that you have, like Internal Undying Love, which is literally a I've literally tried reading from that book.
Yep.
On this show before.
Yep.
And
I remember it with horrors. I having PTSD right now.
because I needed to share my pain with other people. I did. When I read it, I discovered what it meant to truly, because you know that Stephen King, when he wrote Cujo, he literally wrote that while he was like drinking, like, I think it was like rubbing alcohol or something like that. His wife had literally locked up all of the other supplies of alcohol in the house, and he still somehow produced a work that is 100 times more cogent than what Brett or my magnum opera, Eternal Undying Love, in this situation.
There's
He's
a good
still
comment
promoting
from
it all
Claude
the
in the
time.
side chat, Aiden. If you could highlight that, sorry.
Which one?
Didn't mean to interrupt you.
The latest one or the one before?
Yeah, the last one.
Ah.
So Brett Keane did plagiarize a poem from somebody. This girl had written a poem that was mourning her dead father.
Correct.
And Brett Keane took that poem and basically Mad Lib style, plugged in the different names and the pronouns to make a song about his dead mom. And then he posted a video that was in black and white with sad sounding music of him reading the poem.
Yeah, it was called, so the original poem was by Judy Burnett, and it was a poem called Dad. And as you correctly summarized, it was about her dead father. And when Brett posted that on his channel, he had that posted with explicitly on there, it said by Brett Keane. And when people started calling him out and saying, this is not yours, we've found this poem elsewhere, and it literally is basically exactly like it, you just changed a couple of minor details. It was like, well, I was on a website situation, and whenever I go on there and I try doing that, it just automatically credited me for it. It was just a mistake. And no, it wasn't. That was the beginning of the end for him. And it really wasn't all that long after his YouTube career. So yes, Claude, thank you for bringing that up.
I think, Aiden, you may have your Brett Keane lie stories mixed up. I believe the thing
you want to out Brett Keane me? Okay, let's do it.
Well, I don't remember the name of the girl who wrote the poem. That's some good Brett Keane trivia to remember her name. But Brett used to often steal lyrics and songs from the band Him, fronted by Bam Margera. And when he got called out on that, he gave that excuse of, the website automatically tagged my name on it. Maybe he used this for the poem video also. But the
You are
really
correct
thing,
about you're correct about the hymn lyric thing, but I do believe that he used that excuse for both of those, and that's also something that's in his MO. He's not exactly
Right.
somebody that comes up with original fucking arguments.
That's true. But the really stupid thing is, if he would have just been upfront about it and given the credit to the person and been open about the fact that he was repurposing this poem and making it about his mom, I think the original author might have actually found that to be, quite touching or like a good thing,
Oh, for sure, but it gets to the heart of a part of Brett that people have always found very detestable, which is the fact that Brett always needs to make everything about him at all times. To everyone else's detriment, it's always going to be about Brett. And I'm sure that you'll see that come through a few times here. I haven't even seen this yet, but I would bet that definitely shines through once or twice here, so to speak.
What?
I
Does
know, right?
Brett have narcissistic traits? What?
No.
No.
I heard from somebody earlier today that he doesn't actually have narcissistic traits, so it must be true.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think that person was Brett, but
Oh,
I'd have to go back.
and he is the original source.
That's
Of course.
true. I mean, like, if you can't trust Brett, who can you trust? He's the Mr. Rogers of YouTube, if you really think about it.
It's a beautiful day in this dumpster fire. A beautiful day to be garbage.
Tired of dealing with musicians.
And then is that when you decided to jump into the world of YouTube with all their mini trolls?
Yeah, it was actually.
Won't you come down? Won't you come down? Won't you come down to Festus?
I'm sorry. I'll keep going.
Actually, a pretty rough time in the moment.
I think now would be a good time can we get a proper definition of the word troll just for the record?
Oh boy, you're gonna Dan it.
Can we get a definition of the word troll, please? The proper
I actually
definition.
think this is important.
Troll. Yeah, if you want to pull it up, feel free.
Well, my personal definition has always been somebody who, and its origin was from 4chan, and they would post something like "trolling is art," and then somebody would post a comment saying, "Oh, you spelled that wrong. It's supposed to be an art," and then they would post "let epic troll face" in reply to that. So the spirit of it is that you're intentionally being facetious on purpose. So it's somebody who's not like doing things in good faith. Because I feel like, okay, I'm from Urban Dictionary. It says one who posted deliberately provocative messages with the intention of causing maximum disruption or argument. Oh, that's a good one. Because I feel like they're going to use this word a lot in this video. And it's one of my pet peeves with people who misuse this word to mean anybody I dislike on the internet.
Yeah.
Whenever I decided to start up YouTube, but I used to use like Yahoo Chat and AOL. I can't believe that stuff even existed as long as it did.
All right. Well, just for some of the people who are going to watch this and they don't maybe know who Brett Keane is, Brett Keane was one of the most influential atheists on all of YouTube. Before there was ever an Aaron Raw, it was Brett Keane.
That's right.
He's not even wrong, though. He's really not wrong.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, I'll get it out of the way and I'll say it. Brett Keane was a very influential early YouTube atheist, and the things that he said early on were important. But let's think about this, right? Brett Keane is a guy that has a long and storied history of stealing other people's ideas, stealing other people's works, no matter how sensitive the subject matter. So I would not be surprised personally if some of those really well thought out, really eloquent early Brett Keane videos were at least partially cribbed from somebody else's ideas, from, as he said himself, AOL message boards and chats that he's having with other people. And I only say that because if he was capable of that kind of stuff, you would still hear it from him, at least to some extent, to this day. And I just don't really get that impression from him anymore. You know, I really don't.
Well, it also has something to do with this was around 2006. So this was very early YouTube, and Brett was kind of one of the first, horses to the trough sort of thing. I mean,
oh, he was innovative in terms of putting it on YouTube and formatting it in the way that he did. Like nobody else was doing that at that
but
point.
there wasn't a lot of competition. If you look at the people he was in competition with, like TJ Kirk, it's like videos of the amazing atheist looking disheveled and filming himself in his garage.
yeah. That's true. And he's like fidgeting around every half a second like a meth addict because he's just so freaking ADHD. Oh, I remember those videos as well. But you're right.
But TJ's still around though.
That's true.
He's
and
been
he's still
successful.
he's still making money off of the internet to this day. So that would really be the biggest difference between those two. And also, one other thing, TJ also undeniably improved his quality over time. He evolved with the times.
Yeah.
He changed his content. He changed the way that he presented himself over time. I feel like Brett has never really evolved outside of, I know he says that evolution's a bunch of bullshit. You think it just came from a fish atheist, Johnny, or it's a bunch of bullshit? But really, he hasn't evolved himself. He is the proverbial missing link that never did evolve or change.
Proverbs guy's trying to say that Aaron Ra came directly from Brett Keane, and they're completely different. You still had Aaron Ra even without Brett Keane.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, Aaron Ra came from a science background.
Yeah.
Brett Keane is just said he didn't believe in Christianity, but he never tried to back it up with any real philosophy or science.
And also, he's not an educator. Aaron's big thing is to provide education and be a science communicator.
Right.
And that, I would say, is kind of the opposite of anything Brett Keane has ever done, even though I'm not familiar with his early atheist content, but his character.
On the contrary, Deviant Outcast, I'm sorry, but I, as a resident of Brett Keane historian, must step in and say that when he was doing his Stallion era, oh my God, it was one of the best eras of Brett Keane of all time. The Stallion 76 was one of Brett's earliest YouTube channels, and back then he did genuinely like, hello everyone, my name is the Stallion, and I'm here with a sweater vest, and I'm presenting myself in this very official looking background, and I'm here to tell you about evolution. Like, he really did try that for a period of time. He tried the whole I'm an intellectual situation, and it really did not work for him at all. So the fact that Steven is sitting here, you're right, Big Bad Mama. If anything, at that point, when Brett was in his Stallion era, that was about 2011, 2012. If I'm not mistaken, that's when people like Aaron Ra were like kind of starting to establish themselves on YouTube and starting to get their platforms going. So I wouldn't be surprised, if anything, that he was just copying other science communicators at that point in time and just trying to ape off of them. But no, he's the innovator, of course. It's just silly. Anyway,
Brett Keane was the atheist vindicator. And Brett Keane had a road to Damascus type of experience and is very much trying to live for the Lord now. So we won over one of the biggest tools that Satan ever had on YouTube.
What? We won over. Like, he's acting like Steven was one of those people on the front lines back in 2012 or whatever. No, it wasn't even. It was like 2009, 2010 that Brett had his first, like, I'm thinking about converting to Gord in the situation. And they kind of like played around with that for a little bit. And then all of a sudden he had his big come to Jesus moment, conveniently right around the time that he got a bunch of donations from a bunch of Christians. So, yeah, I mean, like, make of that what you will. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the Nation of Islam started gifting Brett like a $500 stipend every week. If Brett started coming to us, you know, like, martial law in the situation.
We are extremely underusing him. What else would you go over, Brett?
Well, yeah. I was saying that because I was doing those chats and talking to religious folks and non-believers, a lot of people said, Brett, you got a pretty cool voice and personality. Why don't you do YouTube? And I remember checking out YouTube 20 years ago. It was just cat videos and gerbils on wheels. I was like, why do they want me to do this thing for? But I did, and blew up pretty quickly. Well, my only competition was kittens and puppies. So, you know, what are you going to do?
That's true. And you kind of laid the pavement for all of YouTube.
Steven, yeah, that's true. You really didn't have any competition, you piece of shit. Yeah, that's right.
Podcast shows today, all the live panels that you see are almost brainchildren of the way you did your show, the God TV Radio. Is that right?
Yeah, a lot of.
Just no qualification. Yeah, that's right. No, that's not right at all. The way that Brett did his content back then was he did it in a vlog style. You know, he used to make vlogs back in a time where vlogging as a concept wasn't really explored all that much on the internet. So yeah, in that aspect, yeah, he was kind of exploring a pretty untapped niche at that point. But to act like he was like making podcasts like we are right now, or they're attempting to do right there back in that day, is absurd because nobody was doing that back then.
Like he was involved in Google Plus Hangouts, which was like the originator of like the StreamYard panel. But like the website and like the technology existed before Brett Keane. Like that's the format. Like he didn't invent that format, you know?
No, he didn't. And those Google Plus Hangouts that he had back then, you know, he would for a period of times broadcast those Hangouts. He actually was one of the last people to still be doing Google Plus Hangouts. Like back when Google Plus was dying as a platform, he held on to that thing as long as he possibly could.
Yeah.
But to act like he was the first one to do that and that he was really setting the precedent for that is just not understanding the early history of Brett at all and just going, oh, he did this. Well, he must have innovated here too. No, you're just being a ball polisher.
Non-believers, even nowadays, I've noticed, because every once in a while I get bored and feel like a masochist and go visit an atheist channel, see what they're saying, and they're not saying anything new or interesting that I haven't already said and better. Yeah, so it doesn't impress me.
You know, when I think articulate, you know, somebody that's really good at expressing ideas succinctly, Brett is the one that comes to mind for me.
Right. Well, okay.
Even Stephen agreed. Did you hear?
With YouTube, they seem to have a pattern. Anytime somebody goes young earth creation or even Christian period, they definitely start shadow banning your channel. It's happened to my channel. It's happened to multiple channels for you.
Okay, so
Wait.
the reason why Brett Keane has had, at this point, I kid you not, upwards of 40 YouTube channels is not because he's Christian. He did not get shadow banned. And by the way, the term shadow ban being thrown around right here, as AJ was pointing out earlier, it's just yet another term that they're just using without even knowing the actual meaning. Because if you get shadow banned from a platform, that means that nobody except you is able to see the content that you post. That's what a shadow ban is. It's not when you get absolutely destroyed in the algorithm because nobody watches your content and you get condemned to be a memory hole channel that nobody ever visits. That's not being shadow banned. That's just the natural outcome of posting irrelevant content that nobody gives a shit about.
Are you?
I was going to say, I feel pretty confident that the reason why Bolin thinks it's shadow banning and that it's happened to him is simply that he cannot get a grip of the fact that his channel is SIHIT or fullständig jävla dynga, as we say in Sweden.
Oh, I went to IKEA today, Deviant.
Ooh! Did you tell them hi from me?
I did. I did. They were playing Swedish music in there and everything.
Did you have the meatballs?
I did. You know what? I had the meal in the cafeteria because they have like a whole cafeteria thing in there, apparently. I've only been once before in my whole life, so I didn't know that they had like a whole ass cafeteria there. And they got good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you buy one of the dollar rats?
No, I can't say that I did.
Wow,
no, I got the meatballs, the mashed potatoes, got some peas, and a slice of garlic bread, and it was very tasty.
Afraid at all that will happen to this channel again?
As far as I know, it could have already happened the moment I, restarted up the YouTube channel. I don't know. I know a lot of Christian YouTubers who are making great looking videos. And some of the imagery that you use and thumbnails, you're really working hard to make it right. And I think that you should be a lot farther on YouTube than what you are. You should be like 10,000 subs in.
I love that. I love that. Because that's such a backhanded comment from Brett. He's like,
you're way more relevant than you should be. You should be like getting way more views than none at all.
It's like such a backhanded endorsement.
It's also so telling of how these people think, where their own values lies. Because what he said wasn't, you're making amazing content that is really informative or interesting or engaging, and your hosts are just brilliant and kind and whatever it may be. No. You're making great images for your thumbnails, so you should have a lot of subscribers. What the?
That's all it takes, Steve. That's all you need. What you want?
Yeah,
you want
for Nimrods.
Well, you want somebody to make content that actually engages people and has something unique to say? Like, what the fuck do you want in a particular situation?
No, he's not. That's not what Brett. I don't think Brett has been interested in actually making content in a long time.
And apparently neither has Bolin. I mean, I'm just guessing, but from what it seems.
Shadow Bean is Bolin's code word for nobody's watching. That's true. I agree.
Okay.
The kind of time you put into your work here.
Oh, it was a good point.
So something's wrong.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had the same experience. The channel you had when I met you, I think it was over 10,000, right?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. The channel he was watching was never over 10,000. That's a blatant lie. I remember the channel that Steven's referring to, and it got up to 1,200 subscribers. And that's because it was one of the very rare Brett Keane channels that was actually able to go like a year or two without being banned. So, yeah, he got a few subs because he's an infamous character on YouTube. But that channel got kicked into the dirt, just like the other 38 channels that he had before that one. Because he doesn't know for the life of him how to actually run a successful channel. But, hey, that's fine. It's not his fault. It's because he's a Christian. That's the reason.
Yeah. The most persecuted group.
Naturally.
A lot of channels. Yeah. For some reason, atheists can sit up there and do nasty, weird stuff on video. But if a religious person gets a little feisty, uh-oh.
Okay. Yep. Exactly. All right, so is YouTube your main platform right now?
Wow, real deep concern from Steven. Yep, exactly. That is true. I agree with that sentiment.
Now, or is it more or less a backup platform for you? Where are you putting most of your eggs?
Well, I'm mostly
I do not want to know where Brett Keane is putting most of his eggs.
I don't want to know where he puts anything.
That's a good point.
dealing with the website and everything and working on that and the music, and YouTube's this. I think one of the reasons why I even returned is I like some of the people on here. I dig folks like you and being able to talk to people on social media. But I got to be honest, as far as the religion versus atheist thing, that started getting boring because, like I said, they say the same thing over and over like a scripted.
Brett, you have hosted
Evolution is bullshit. Prove me wrong in the situation.
streams where like longer than some of my siblings have been fucking alive. Okay? Like you have been doing this for 15 years now. This just,
Are you a believer or non-believer?
like that's all you've been doing, and you mean to tell me that
Oh, well, that got boring to me, you know. After 13 years of doing it, 14th year, I was like, all right, I've heard everything I need to hear now.
I don't think so.
The robot.
We can't get them to come on our show anymore. I don't know if they're
I
just totally
wonder
repulsed by
why.
us.
You know, it's funny. The same reason why nobody goes on Brett's shows for that topic anymore, because he's banned everyone who actually wants to posit an argument that people want to hear. That's why nobody goes on there. Because
So
when you've seen 10 other people get the boot just for making a reasonable point that was perfectly fine and articulate and well made, but they made it in a way that, oh, well, we can try and, oh, well, this person said it in a way that I found to be personally offensive, so they're not allowed around here anymore. It's happened so many times on both of their platforms. That's why nobody's on there anymore.
Or if they got tired of getting kicked around, but you know, besides like 3 trolls who are permanently banned, we cannot. I don't think we could pay an atheist to come on our show.
No, because you're
Well, I wouldn't doubt it.
assholes.
It's atheists aren't the same way they used to be a long time ago. They were more, how shall I say, beholden. I don't know if it's right to say this on the screen and stuff, but they seem to have more courage and guts back in the day.
How is you questioning whether it's right to say that on the screen not a demonstration of cowardice, you self-refuting fucking idiot?
And it was maybe because there were people like me around there to, you know, give them some good arguments or something. But nowadays they're weak.
Is that a built-in applause? I thought for a second, Gigi had come back in and played like an applause in the background, but no. Steven is like nakedly fully bred at this point. Wow,
I told
that's
you.
a good point.
Yay! Yes, bravo.
Wow, that was secondhand embarrassment from Brett right there. That was like, what are you doing? Yay! Yes. Oh, Steven, you don't even know how to ball wash properly. That's sad.
Is the best way to describe it, but not as weak, Brett, as their arguments for evolution, right? Yep.
My favorite moment in this whole video, right there. Right there.
I need to go back and watch that again.
Oh,
Oh my good lord!
I was looking forward to this.
Wow! All right, that was special right there. Everybody, right now, the 6 people that are watching right now, you are lucky. You're a lucky bunch because you're right, AJ. I don't know if that's going to be topped.
Yay! Yes, bravo.
Weak is the best way to describe it, but not as weak, Brett, as their arguments for evolution, right? Yep.
You know, you
Oh my goodness.
All right.
It's so good and it's so freaking painful.
Yeah. All right, I've reveled in that enough. We can keep going.
No.
were saying
Okay.
earlier that a link got reverted.
Deviant's like, no.
I actually went and checked out that person's channel, and it's an atheist, and he's got the same sob story. You know, something sad happened, so he had a sad, so therefore God doesn't exist argument. You've heard that a million times.
Oh yeah, as opposed to something sad happened to me, therefore God does exist, which is like 99.9% of all the conversion stories that I've heard, right, Brett? Like, what an original art. I'm going to take the thing that we do all the time and flip it around on you and say that you're doing it all the time. It's so fucking original. Holy shit.
It's always the same deal. It's never for scientific reasons.
Well, yeah, that's another reason why we say, and rightfully so, that evolution.
Yeah, nobody has ever said in the whole history of atheism being a concept, which is, by the way, a concept that vastly predates your idea of how the world works. Nobody ever said, I didn't believe in the mainstream religion because I couldn't find any evidence for it whatsoever scientifically. Nobody ever came to that conclusion. It was always just, my fee-fees hurt, therefore God fake. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that type of science, the pseudoscience, it is a belief. It is a religion. It goes hand in hand. But now,
I don't know.
I'm not going to dwell on it, but the fact that these numbskulls have somehow horseshoed theoried their way all the way back around into saying atheism is a religion, like that's a disparaging thing against, like, you believe in a religion. It's just so dumb. Like, why is believing in a religion an inherently, not that it is, but even if it was, to use the devil's advocate argument, then why would it be something that would be inherently negative in your worldview? It's just so retarded.
I don't know if you grabbed a copy of this off of my TikTok, but I still have that clip of you when you were debating that atheist something. I'm not going to advertise him, but you said, so you think you're a damn...
I don't remember who he is.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I wonder who they're talking about.
Wait a minute. Did they go, wait a minute.
Atheist something. I'm not going to advertise him, but you said, so you think you're a damn banana.
Oh, I thought he said big bad mama there. I think big bad mama. I was like, oh, he did get a mention. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
No.
atheist something.
Oh, yeah, I know the one you're talking about. But no, you added to it, right?
Well, I got the clip. If you don't have a copy of it, people would laugh if they seen that.
Yeah, send that over to me, man. I'll share it. I'll share it on my socials. You have a live show coming up tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
God, his tone of voice, I swear.
What are you going to do for the trolls?
Pause.
I'm just going to...
Stephen Bolin is so deep in the closet, he's finding Chris's presents. Just his tone of voice. Like the things he says. Like he's later in this video, he says, oh, you and TTOR, you guys made up. Don't use the term made up talking about two men. Bolin. Just don't do that. Don't do that.
After acting like a middle school relationship has been amended over two neckbeards having a disagreement over the internet. Okay.
Oh, no. He says you guys made up.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Put them backstage and kind of vet them and see what they're about before you put them on?
Well, to tell you the truth, I can understand why you're using EV Mux now. I went over to StreamYards like I usually used, and it says I can do live.
EV Mux? That sounds like a character from like Swamp People or something. Coming over to EV Mux over there on the trawler going through the bayou. How's it going, EV? Well, I don't down here, but it be shrimping down there. Game bomb don't find nothing.
Live streaming up to 2 hours, and that's it per month. And I looked at the price plan, and I was like, $50. What the hell? These people become burglars.
Look, it got bad, Brett. I was still using StreamYard, but we got up to 8 hosts. And when we got up to 8 hosts, the plan on StreamYard would have cost us $300 a month. The plan I have...
No, it wouldn't have. See, this is the thing, is that Steven is literally so brain dead that he thinks that if I have 8 people on my platform, every single one of them needs to have hosting capabilities and hosting privileges. No, you don't. You could literally get just a basic StreamYard for like $30. And from there, you would have access to all 8 people being on the stream. You'd probably only have to have 1 or 2 of them hosting. But I'm just so baffled by this narrative that it's going to cost $300 a month in order to do StreamYard. Like, that's the worst possible deal that you could take if it's $300.
Right now on EveMux is only costing me $100 a month. But
you're paying you're paying $100 a month to stream to no one right now, Steven?
Of course he does. Of course he does.
You're paying right now what some people in the third world pay in their rent just to like stream to no one. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that, but I do now, unfortunately.
Even that is a
And he's using free
What
StreamYard.
what does God
I
say
hear you.
about
I don't understand why they think that it's worth.
Sorry, go ahead.
about what does God say about being frivolous with money? Is it a good thing?
Yeah, no kidding.
Is it-
And from my understanding of things, you know, it's not exactly like he's in a position where he can just flippantly throw $100 around here and there. And I get that because I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're in a position where you're trying to scrimp and save everywhere you possibly can. I've had this guy tell me before with no hint of irony that he's had to choose between streaming and buying lunch. So, and he chose streaming rather than buying lunch. And that's just utter insanity to me. Like that is an addiction at that point.
Worth that much money. And I'm surprised Google hasn't went ahead and just bought the thing already and made it into their new Google Plus or Google Subtraction, whatever stupid symbols you want to put behind it.
Now, do you have a theme or an idea, a general direction you're wanting your show to go tomorrow?
Well, usually I try to keep things open for people to come in and have discussions and all that. I know it's probably
Okay, I'm sorry. I really hate to be like the peanut gallery, like Big Bad Mama all the time. You should be doing something this way instead of this way. I hate to do that. But at the same time, isn't this a question for the end of the interview, Steven? Isn't this like, you know, so what are you doing tomorrow? This isn't something that you front load the interview with, dude. Have you ever interviewed somebody before in your entire life? Have you ever seen an
ever
interview?
listened? Exactly. Has he ever listened to an interview? Maybe start there.
And he's going to rehash the same question like 3 times.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
intelligent idea to come up with some topics. But I figure while I'm waiting, there's plenty of things going on. Been watching the news a lot, and oh my goodness, I could go on all day about politics. I could go on all day about spirituality. I mean, you name it, while I'm waiting for people to come in and, you know, throw some questions at me.
You've been pretty busy since we talked last. You've got a slew of music out. You're working on all your different social media platforms. I've been pretty busy too. I produced a documentary on Kent Hogan. Have you seen that yet?
You know what? I've seen it, and you can see part of it too by going over to Atheist Junior's channel and watching me and Atheist Junior cover that. Because let me assure you right now, that's a hell of a lot more entertaining than the piece of shit that they put out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like how Bolin has the serious, like, high school reunion energy of like, yeah, I've been pretty busy too. I've been working at the local Arby's. So,
You know, so Brett, Yeah, while you've been putting out your scholarly dissertation and writing the crisis facing the International Space Station, I've been working really hard perfecting the Arby's beef and cheddar sandwich here locally at the local Arby's. It's been quite arduous, if you ask me. You know.
And no disrespect.
Yeah, except it's worse. He's at Dinosaur Adventureland.
Yeah, at least you get paid to be at Arby's. Good point.
I respect Arby's employees. It was just a joke.
Hashtag fuck Arby's employees. In particular.
I don't
You work
know.
at Arby's, you made a bad
Right.
life choice and you should regret it.
Not as bad as going back to Dinosaur Adventureland for the third time.
Oh, here we go. You see, big bad peanut gallery over here. That's actually not as bad as this thing. Okay. Well, why don't you just, if you like Arby's so much, why don't you marry it, big bad mama? How about that?
Can someone tell me what Arby's is?
No.
They have these roast beef sandwiches that have rainbow hues in them.
You
ever had bad old roast beef that turns into like a rainbow?
Yeah, you shouldn't eat it at that point.
Sounds like my ex-wife.
Seinfeld music plays.
No, I haven't. How long is it?
Bow, ba-dow, bow, 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 bow.
So it's 5 episodes that are about 40 minutes long each. So it's kind of set as a Netflix series type of documentary, and you can find it at the Unmasking Kent Hovind YouTube channel. So go check that out when you have
Am I
time.
able to get it on CD or anything?
Yeah. If you go through the Dr. Dino website, it's listed at the store. You can get a DVD copy of it.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yep. But it's also available on YouTube, so you can check it out while you're waiting. So good stuff.
There's
So
no
what are your
Brett's going to
plans for
pay
the
for
near
it
future,
when he can
Brett?
get it for nothing. I mean, this is just such bullshit. Brett's not going to buy that. You can get it for nothing on YouTube. It's a worthless documentary anyway. I see that idiot Wolf Dens in the comments. God, what a plonker he is. Anyway, I won't detract from that. Yeah.
Thanks for the engagement, loser. Let's keep going.
Well, still working on the music, and also I've been working on a book about my life. And so far I've gotten like, I don't know, to the point where I'm like 80% done with it, but it's kind of hard to finish the 20% of life when I'm still actually living.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow, that was a really good laugh right there. It sounds like an engine trying to start up in like the Arctic. Damn it, it's out. AJ, get the seal blubber. I don't know what you use to fucking grease an engine, Deviant. What do you use? It's like routinely minus 83 where you are right now, isn't it? Like in the Arctic.
Walrus grease.
That's right.
Seal.
You use the seal. Yeah, that's right. You club the nearest baby seal and then you
Yeah.
eat it.
They would use whale oil or like animal fat like lard or tallow.
Oh, we need lard. Lupin, get over here.
that's a good point. So
Is that
you're saying
catchy?
pretty much you're done
That
up to
is a
right
good
now
point.
current event.
I know. Thank you, Bolin. I appreciate it. He's been backing me up this stream. He keeps going like, yeah, that's right, Aiden.
I often get you mixed up with
Yeah,
Bolin, Aiden.
I'm pretty much.
You know, that's crazy. You know, I was watching Red Sun in the Sky the other day, and I was like, is that Big Bad? Oh, no, that's Mao Zedong up there. Sorry. It's crazy. I just so confusable.
To that point, but there's a concern about releasing it because I talk about a lot of family members and actually mention names and all that, and some of my family members, they ain't past the idea of a lawsuit.
Well, why don't you just change some of the names?
Well, it'd be kind of hard because even if I change something to, this person's name is Zip or whatever, they're going to know who I'm talking about. And plus, it's Brett Keane writing Brett Keane's life story, right?
Okay. But what's wrong with that?
Well, even if they didn't want to sue me, there's going to be family members popping on the door wanting to whoop some ass. You understand?
No, I just...
That's because you're a backbiting, spiteful piece of shit, Brett. And I have no doubt that you have nothing but horrible things to say about the people that helped you get to the position that you're in today.
I think that you don't have to do it right now, but I think we should all submit what we think the title of Brett Keane's autobiography will be. And I'll be going with The Old Manatee in the Sea.
The Old Manatee in the Sea. That's good. That's good.
That's almost cheating because you already knew it. I think you might be the winner, but I'm gonna think about it either way.
Yeah, think about it.
I think mine is going to be 20,000 videos under the manatee. It's going to be mine.
Get that. All right. So it's pretty much a waiting game. Are you waiting for some people to die? And if so, as morbid as it is, do you think they'll outlast you?
Well, some of the people are already gone in life, unfortunately, sadly for them. But there are a couple people left. Where
why did he say sadly for them? Like he fucking killed them in like a hit or something.
Unfortunately for them, I just got in the way situation, and my bulbous mass consumed them like some kind of eldritch version of Kirby in the situation.
Brett, no!
they got roasted pretty hard in the butt.
They got roasted pretty hard in the butt. He did kill them. He killed them 100%.
He's saying that he wrote a book about his life where he roasts his own family members, and he's saying that some of them might sue him unless he waits for them to die, or they might come to his house and try to kick his ass for what he wrote in the book. What kind of relationship does he have with his family members?
Yeah, no shit. I mean, like, something tells me that given your current state of health, Brett, they're probably going to outlast you. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay. And this is not your first book. You also have the Afterlife Simulation, right?
Yeah, the other stuff is fantasy, sci-fi, that kind of stuff. And one of my first novels was a horror novel. This is actually based upon, an actual person, me.
True, yeah. I guess it would be hard to write a book about your own life and to be totally vulnerable and completely honest about all the details, because often we like to keep those skeletons in the closet. So how much scar have you, exposed during this process?
Oh, I put all of my stuff out there and all that. That's another thing. I know that if I release my...
How much scar have you put out there? That is definitely one of the sentences of all time. Yeah. I mean, like, just...
sometimes I can't words for garbage, so,
I mean, like, yeah, but at the same time, you're not conducting an interview right now. Like, when you're in interview mode, you're in, like, I'm processing at maximum capacity, but he's just stumbling all over himself over the past.
Yeah, it's almost like he's a little nervous or something, like he's starstruck by Brett Keane.
Yeah, you're right, actually. I think you're right. I think he might actually be a little,
oh man, I really don't want to screw this up. Oh, what if Brett thinks less of me? Sound like he already tried to take down my YouTube channel by putting up the amazing atheist saying "fuck your god" N-word for 10 hours straight. Oh no!
Oh no!
Look, there'd probably be like tons of documentaries made about me, so that's another thing too to concern. Truth Matters out here says I can't wait to read Brett's biography. Is it short? I wish. No.
Is it short? I wish.
Brett's biography.
It would be a service to humanity if your biography was short. And I don't mean that in the terms of, I wish your life was cut short, Brett. I'm not one of those people. I just mean that I wish your biography was only 1 page long and it was just literally just like a link to your YouTube channel or something like that, because that would be better at summarizing your life.
Matters was. Guess who?
Ah, you
Say
know,
no more. Say no more.
that's a real head scratcher. I say head scratcher because it can't be a chin scratcher because Brett doesn't have a chin. It's been lost to a sea of blubber. But anyway,
I'm gonna guess
Okay,
Christian Mike.
that's
So,
deep.
So, has
since we're
anybody ever
talking,
given the thought to using manatee oil on specific equipment? I don't know.
That's true, Dustin. I think that it does. I think that manatee oil needs to be considered as well.
since we're talking about his biography,
Mm-hmm.
and you all guys know where my main interests are.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could be titled "The Dispute Between a Manatee and His Barf: The Mac and Cheese Story."
I wake up in the morning and I get myself some mackerel. I try to avoid the great whites and the orca whales because they're really a bastards. Those big orcas are bastards.
Instead of the Book of the Dead, Brett is going to publish the Book of the Has-Been. And I think that that's going to be quite insightful about, because at least the Book of the Dead, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You're gone. You don't have to worry about living anymore. Brett has suffered a fate worse than death, I would argue. He's been relegated to utter obscurity.
So
the thing at this
in the dispute between a manatee and his barf, but in the same vein as the original, in this one, he is arguing with his barf because it doesn't obey him, so that he can actually eat even more mac and cheese.
Oh, I was going to take the position that much like the dog in the Bible that comes back to its own vomit, he was trying to eat his vomit and then it ran away from him. That
is what he is. The original, of course, is a man who is arguing with a part of his soul because he wants to die and the soul won't let him die.
That is true.
So
I'm funnier, deviant. No, I'm just joking.
I'm visualizing something akin to him arguing with his barf because that is the mac and cheese that he wants to have because you need the bar in the afterlife, and it rejects him over and over again, and it's the mac and cheese story.
Deviant,
did I over explain it?
No. I think if you spend another 2 or 3 minutes explaining it, I think it'll get even funnier, as a matter of fact.
Okay, good.
But Professor Pants has requested that you read this dissertation by him. Could you please do us the favor, Deviant Outcast, of reading this?
I
have it highlighted.
Oh, I should read what his. He watcheth me through windows dreary while the night is falling near me. He watcheth me as dawn is breaking. Tears many photos taking.
Very moving. Very moving. Thank you. But it's still better than Brett's poetry, if you ask me. Still better.
This point is around 456 pages.
And by the way,
wow, he's interested. You could just tell how interested and engaged Stephen is with this interview.
I did give you a wrench, Brett. So if you see,
pause. Can you bring up the comment again? There you go.
He watches me through windows dreary, while the night is falling near me. He watcheth me as dawn is breaking. Tears many photos taking. Thank you.
A poem by Professor Pants.
Thank you, Sid.
That
Any
was
trolls out there that I'm missing.
my
feel free to
much
block
better half gave you that.
Okay, I was gonna say, bro, that was quite the voice there, Deviant. What did you do we need another ambulance? I'm just wondering.
I think we're good.
She's got that dog in her.
Dude, I didn't know what to. I was like, all of a sudden there was like this voice of body and bass, and I was like, what the hell?
See, the first one got 1 from Professor Pants, but then Soots got 2.
But
So-
I had no idea what I was doing because I didn't see the chat.
I gotcha. All right, we're gonna get back to playing this video sometime before the heat death of the universe. Otherwise,
Yes.
we will in fact be trapped here until that point.
Okay, that no one wants that. No one wants that.
No one.
No, I
will.
don't see anybody causing any trouble out there. You got all the nice people on your channel.
Oh, it took a lot of work to get rid of the certain Canadians and some various others.
Oh, Canadians, them and liberals. What are you going to do with them? How come we haven't bought their country already and ran that place right?
Oh, well, you know, I gave you credit at the beginning of the show for teaching so much about podcasting and running live panels and all of that.
You know, teaching me how to fuck people over and try to take advantage of them and make it seem like I'm their buddy while actually trying to plot their downfall. Thank you so much for that, Brett. You really taught me a lot, buddy.
It's true. But I didn't give you the discredit for some of the trolls I inherited from your platforms. They found me and they stuck like glue.
Well,
They found you. I seem to recall a certain somebody telling me a few years back, and I quote,
Aiden, do you ever think, does it ever get tiring being right as often as you are?
I remember that being said by somebody. I think it was you, Steven. So don't act like we were this miasma that you were trying to get away from the very beginning. No, your channel, much like it is today, was once an irrelevant failboat that nobody watched. And you were desperately trying to cultivate people to watch. You know, people like Ryan, who you ended up fucking over, and Gangster Ghost, who you ended up fucking over, and me, who you ended up fucking over, and really, like, 99% of this community, when you really think about it. I think some of the only people...
When you have a point, you have a point. The list of farmers, pagans, guys, mysteries are getting longer and longer.
It's pretty ridiculous when you mistreat people so much that somebody as nice as Gangster Ghost has to walk away from you and wash his hands of you. You know that you done fucked up as far as I'm concerned. But it's not like Steven does, because Steven has the exact same self-awareness as a deer in the headlights.
Well, unfortunately, that is what they do. I've always warned people before I go on shows or podcasts. I say, look, if I come over here, you might make a few friends and all that, but you're also going to run into a lot of turd burglars. And unfortunately, you have experienced it. Yay!
Oh, I've been bombed and everything. Yeah, I have been
turd burglars.
And I never did anything.
I've been bombed. You've never been porn bombed, Steven. I'm sure you want to claim credit for that. The fact that you're claiming that when that's never happened to you tells me that you've wanted that to be the case. You've wanted somebody that's enough of a piece of shit like Brett, who has porn bombed people in the past. You know, the fact that you're bringing that up around Brett right now ain't no coincidence. You know Brett's past, Steven, you slimy piece of shit. You know that Brett porn bombed Ms. Parker. You know he's porn bombed other people in the past. So when you bring this up, it's not apropos of nothing. It's because you know full well that Brett has a history of that. So if you say that you've had it happen to you, then all of a sudden you have solidarity with him, right? God, you're so desperate to please. Imagine being this desperate to please somebody this reprehensible. That's what I want you to think about for a moment while I play this.
Do you know what else? Do you know what else on top of that, though? Aiden, is that when he pretends to be a servant of God, but he's using God as a servant for a means to an end to his channel.
Oh, for sure. Like, always trying to pilfer off of this notion that he's doing right by this god and he's benefiting them as much as possible and glorifying them by doing drama streams endlessly, trying to bash other people that don't believe in him. That's going to win people over. That's the point of a ministry.
The YouTube community.
What do you plan to do? Are you going to keep doing some shows? You got any interesting things coming up?
Yeah, so we have a biblical archaeologist coming up, and then we have a big interview with the family that produces.
Oh my god, they have a biblical archaeologist come deviant.
Mhm.
I think I smell a future show of ours.
I do too, and it's with glee and horror.
How long ago
I mean-
was this interview?
This was yesterday, Dustin. This is fresh off the shit vine, my friend. Plucked fresh from the finest turd vineyard.
Bro, I haven't even been over there. I haven't. Proverbs Guys has not donned my phone for like almost a year now, actually.
I mean, that sounds like a very blissful and peaceful year.
It does.
Is a line of Christian movies, the movie Courageous and Fireproof, and that series. We're going to be interviewing those producers. So we've got some big things lined up. But right now, it's more about developing our website, and we're really trying to push our alternative platform, Rumble. So I think that's going to be our future, Rumble, TikTok, and X, because let's be honest, YouTube is not Christian friendly.
Well, I'll tell you what, the next time you run into some non-believer debaters and they claim up and down that there's no evidence, tell them, well, the abundance of evidence we have for the Bible and geology and the figures in the Bible.
Geology? Huh?
Do you find God in rocks somehow?
You know, it's crazy. If only we had a geologist on the panel right now with us. Hey, hey, resident geologist.
Did he say geology actually?
He did. Hold on,
Yep.
I'll go back.
Well, I'll tell you what, the next time you run into some non-believer debaters and they claim up and down that there's no evidence, tell them, well, the abundance of evidence we have for the Bible and geology and the figures in the Bible.
Did you say theology?
No, he said geology.
That doesn't
he
make
said
any sense
geology.
whatsoever.
He said, he 110% said you can prove God from rocks.
I have no comment on this.
What? Wow.
What?
He's wrong.
That's weak sauce. Weak sauce.
I think Big Bad Mama's had a long day, Deviant. I think he's about.
This is my third stream of the day, and I actually had to sing
That's
karaoke
your-
on one of them. So give me a break.
That's your fault. That's your fault. And you're gonna.
I think AJ stands in solidarity with Big Bad Mama here.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you for your support.
The ball washing, it's spreading. No.
F you,
Compared
deviant.
to
Sorry.
I hate you with great love.
I mean, that we come from rocks is quite overwhelming. Yeah, you can say that.
You know, you said earlier that you were tired of the whole evolution versus creation argument, and I could understand why. You took that battle on from both sides for a really long time, but you had some of the classic arguments, man, almost on the same scale.
Yeah, you're right. He made some of the classic and very solid art. And not saying that they originally came from him, but back in the day, some of the best arguments that I heard against. Oh my goodness. Is the bombing of Hiroshima happening? Holy crap. What's happening right now?
I'm sorry. That's a. I have these planes that fly over my place. Sorry about
The AA guns, Big Bad Mama. You need to change things.
these damn World War II planes fly over my place.
No kidding. Sounds like you
World War One.
Sounds like you were in the Blitz there for a minute. You go to your shelter. No, but I was making something resembling a cogent point. Crap. I'll have to
The classical arguments from Brett
All right.
Keane.
Thank you, Dustin. See, I keep you around for a reason, my friend, and it's because you're such a good friend, among other things. But this is the reason why I keep you around for this moment. That being said, yes, some of the original atheist arguments that I heard against God, like arguments against Pascal's wager, arguments against the blind watchmaker, like some of the original arguments I heard against those were from Brett. Now I have no doubt in my mind that he scooped those from other people and he was just communicating those to a wider audience. But I would say that as far as him having some really good arguments, yeah, back in the day when he was an atheist, he had some pretty good arguments. And then he just all of a sudden up and pretended to forget all of those arguments, which is why for the first several years of him being a gourd believer, he had nothing but atheists coming into his rooms basically saying, Brett, you were making arguments against the exact things that you are saying are true now. Like, you know the argumentation against why evolution is bullshit. You know the argumentation against 6-day creation. He knows all of those things, and yet he just up and forgot all of that all of a sudden. It's ridiculous.
As Kent Hovind, whereas you would spin it on him. I remember your famous one, the snot on a rock, and explain the variables in the environment. Like, great questions, man.
Well, it's not so much having an issue talking about evolution or science or anything like that. I admire science. I think that we both have a great deal of admiration. I know Kent Hovind loves science as well, and he especially uses it to, whip the uneducated out there, which I admire and respect as well. The issue is the type of people we're talking to. We get these folks that come in and they're narcissistic and they act like they know everything, but it only takes 5 minutes to realize they didn't even make it to high school.
Was that Steven that laughed there? Or was that Claude? I thought that even Steven found that so ridiculous that he laughed. Oh my goodness. No, I don't blame you for laughing, Claude. Yeah.
And the sucking up to Kent, shortly after this, I'll put up a short of Brett calling Kent a horrible person and shit and various things like that. So that he's just full of it. It's just crap.
Well, those never happened. You need to understand when he's around Steven and pushing a narrative takes over, actually trying to show anything paramount to the truth, then all of a sudden he was always a massive Kent Hovind supporter. Big Bad Mama, I have a question for you. Were you able to ask Brett your question?
No, it didn't. I asked it and it didn't go through for some reason.
What?
I think putting Kent's name in there is blocked on the Proverbs Guide channel.
Oh, is Kent like Mary and Kid?
Yeah. Kent Hovind and Mary are in the same category.
They're all blocked terms on his channel. I want to see that blocked list so badly because every term I've found is the most random, mundane thing you can think of.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, actually I do. It's a lot of YouTube professors. They've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and they've
unlike you, Steven. You went to school for this, right, Steven? Yeah, you. Went I
bet you the latest words to be added were "eat fecal matter."
Probably. In a better world, they would have been, Dustin.
True. Actually, ingest. That's right. I used the term ingest.
To parrot the information on the YouTube videos, and they will continue propagating it further.
Oh my God, talk about projection. Every single point I've heard, like Steven, You literally, for your points about Egypt and Moses and Imhotep III and all of that fucking gobbledygook
The
nonsense.
only thing he did was show other people's YouTube videos.
Yeah.
YouTube videos that weren't even from like
proper sources. They were just AI generated slop.
There are proper sources on the internet, on YouTube.
Oh, but do those sources substantiate what Steven is saying, or do they substantiate what you're saying, Deviant?
No, because conspiracy theories are seldom in the academic sphere, other than like not sociologists. What's the word? When you study modern culture and conspiracy theories is part of your studies as a phenomena.
What is that? I think I know what you're talking about.
Like socio-anthropology or something. Huh?
Sociology?
I thought she said sociology.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's so why can't I say this word? Sociology. Or if it's more like anthropology.
I think anthropology is more the historical context of those things rather than the modern. Anyways, we're getting off into a total tangent.
Yeah.
Let's watch this.
As science, knowing that we have no observable, testable evidence for any of their claims.
Oh, look at that out there. Missing Mod says we're awesome. That makes me flush.
Yeah, there's been nothing really but good, favorable stuff that I see.
Brett, you are awesome. Never change. Yeah. Nobody would ever want Brett Keane to change. Brett, make sure that, and anytime, Brett, that you think that you ought to do the right thing towards somebody, make sure you don't do that, Brett. Never change.
See out in the comment section, which I'm glad we have 9 people watching. I'm not going to open up the panel because I guess last time I let somebody in that was trolling. So I don't want to make a mistake of doing that again. Otherwise, I'd open up the panel and let people ask you some questions.
Well, I don't know. If you start doing that, then other people start bugging you. I am paying attention to the comments. If everybody's been saying nice things about both of us the whole time.
Yeah, because those are the only people allowed in there, dumbass. Like, what a shock.
Oh, wow, all the yes men bobbleheads in the side chat have all been saying great things. Wow.
I don't actually think that about you, Missing Mod. You're the only one you're the exception to that rule. Well, you and Claude, because Claude was actually making some pretty funny comments.
Almost making me blush over here. But if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Oh, you know what? I'm really glad that you and TTOR, I guess it looks like you guys have made up.
Yeah, me and him.
There's the part, AJ. There's the part where you got any colored commentary for that, buddy?
I mean, I question some of the word choice that Bolin uses and his tone. I just find it off-putting.
That's problematic, AJ. That's problematic. I'm going to talk with you after the show, AJ.
Tim had one of the same type of problems that you and I ran into a while back, where you brought somebody in, they decided to take over your show. Well, he did the same thing, and I told him before we went in.
Oh, like take over the show by like playing a clip of The Amazing Atheist screaming obscenities for hours on end? Like take over the show like that, right, Brett? Something like that, you fucking retard.
There, I said, look, I'm thinking about quitting YouTube for a year or two and getting out of here. And he's like, oh, that's rough. And I said, this whole politics, it was right before Trump was getting in, and I was really concerned the election was going to get screwed over. And I was just stressed out. And I said, man, I just want to chill. I want to hang out with my friends and have a good time. I don't want any argument or fighting. Within 5 minutes, he had some wild feral animal up in there screaming and yelling directly at me. I was like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. This is Brett's mentality on display right there. So The reason why Steven is fucking deathly afraid of putting anybody on the panel is because he knows that Brett does not think about this kind of shit rationally. He knows that if he does let somebody on the panel and they are critical of Brett, Brett's not going to be all that pissed off at the guy that came in. He's going to be pissed off at Steven for allowing that person to come in. Because in Brett's worldview, if somebody's critical of him on someone else's platform, it's only because the host allowed them to be critical of them on their platform. It's just such backwards cart before the horse kind of thinking. But that's always been how he's operated.
And what blows my mind about it, Brett, is if I quit YouTube tomorrow and never came back, my name would be totally forgotten within a couple of years.
True.
If it took that long.
It would not be years, Steven. I promise you.
No. That Stephen Toilet Bowling joke is going to be around forever.
Okay, in our little corner of the internet, yes, that'll probably still be bandied about as a joke. But beyond that, yeah, he is going to be functionally irrelevant. I don't think the funny thing is that he's acting like he's relevant now. Like anybody knows his name now. Like anybody outside of this very small little niche of people even knows who Stephen Bolin is.
I've seen that comment. Toilet Bowling stenciled in golden letters on the outside of baseball fields. What are you talking about? He's known everywhere by that joke.
He made that comment at the beginning that Brett Keane was responsible for how the Proverbs Guys channel had blossomed. And it's like, what? They get 20 viewers.
I think 20 viewers implies that they get 20 viewers at the same time. No, now they get
20 views.
When they do a 2.5 hour live stream, they'll get 20 views between now and the heat death of the universe. That's a bit more of an accurate summarization of things.
But you, on the other hand, you've quit YouTube multiple times, and just up to the other day, I was scrolling through YouTube, and for some reason it was advertising the Drunken Peasants, and they are still obsessed with you. What makes you so...
What a bullshit claim. YouTube was just advertising the Drunken Pez. Shut up. You went and looked on their channel, Steven. I know for a fact the Drunken Peasants ain't getting shit for views nowadays. They're not up on the YouTube banner page getting recommended all over the place. If you did get them recommended to you, then that means that you've been watching a lot of atheist content, which kind of raises an eyebrow. Why are you so interested? Why are you listening to all this atheist stuff if you're so bad at refuting atheist talking points? But I don't think that's what it is. I think he just went and watched the Drunken Peasants because he wanted to go and find some content to talk with Brett about. Because basically the only people that Brett is known through in nowadays is the context of the Drunken Peasants. He doesn't realize there's not a lot of people like me left that remember Brett outside of the context of the Drunken Peasants. 95% of everyone on the internet that remembers Brett remembers him because the Drunken Peasants covered him for years on end and made fun of him and made thousands upon thousands of dollars just bankrolling this disgusting, disheveled piece of shit. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're considering the guys that they made a different show. They branched off and made their own show, and they're thinking about bringing him back to make even more money off of him. So I think that tells you everything that it needs to. It's not that, Brett Keane is known for anything outside of being made fun of. I think that's been the case for the vast majority of the time Brett's been on the internet, honestly.
But he did.
I'm starting to wonder if maybe
he did embrace it,
a
Aiden.
backdoor deal.
Didn't he? I mean, Brett did embrace their comedy about him. Because didn't he actually participate in their streams?
Well, you see, Brett would...
Which I have to give him credit for. I mean, he actually, once they started lampooning him, he actually joined in on the lampooning.
Well, he joined in on the lampooning after he realized that he could not get them taken down for it. You see, the thing that he would rather you forget is that when they first started covering him, he started making content on his channel saying, if you don't take this content down, I'm going to copyright strike your whole fucking channel and do a oblivion situation. Like, he was trying to get all of that stuff about him scrubbed because Brett hates criticism about him. He does. He hates and despises when people are seriously critical of him. But when he realized that it was just the tide of it was so overwhelming, eventually, yeah, he tried being like, yeah, manatee, mac and cheese, I'm in on the joke too, guys. No, it wasn't that simple. He only basically joined in when there was no other choice.
It's weird, isn't it, how people, they make videos saying that they're telling you that you're garbage as a person and you're irrelevant and all this. And it's like, well, if I'm irrelevant, what the hell are you making a video for? You know, if somebody's actually garbage and not worth your time, then why spend an hour?
I actually agree with Brett on that. I agree with the idea that, like, if somebody is well and truly just totally irrelevant, and that's why I qualified my statement earlier with outside of this community who really gives a shit about Bolin or Brett, because there's a group of people that for whatever reason, I still have to ask myself that question, for some reason do still care. But I agree with that sentiment. You can't act like while you're covering somebody that you don't care about them at all. It's one or the other.
I mean, I see a difference between these two guys. Brett is actually a character and is funny to cover Brett, but
that's true.
The Proverbs guys aren't. They don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it charisma, but
joie
there's
de
something
vivre.
separating these two.
That chutzpah, that spark within.
Chutzpah.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Or two talking about a person. That's dumb.
Well, yeah, it seems like it's obsession that, or as I've accused others of doing with our channel, they don't produce any good content, so we are the content.
You know what? We broke a rule by covering this video, Stephen. I think this is the first time that we've directly covered Proverbs Guys content in like months. I think it's got to be like 4 or 5 months at this point since we've directly interviewed a single piece of Proverbs Guys.
Except for Dan Pazzi.
Well, he imposes himself. That's a little different.
I mean, the last time we covered anything was you and me doing the debunk, and that was in I think November was the last we did.
Aiden debunked you? You guys have been debunking together?
Oh yeah.
When was this and what?
We did a takedown series on Bolin's videos on his channel about Egypt. Yeah.
I feel like I've been cheated on.
Dude, you need to watch. It's good content. I'm not usually somebody to like try to pat myself on the back all that much, but me and Deviant, especially Deviant, made some really good content there.
Yeah, it's a bit long. Maybe
you're gonna have to send me a link on Messenger later.
Absolutely.
I could probably do that. But yeah, it's a bit on the long side, but that's just because I'm verbose and Deviant is verbose. And when you get us both in a room, it's just like, heaven forbid you have anything else to do that day. Because it's that day.
But you can play it at 2 times speed.
Exactly
that makes me talk normal.
Other people's content and then talk fast. Me and you could do that, Stephen. We could put somebody's video up, mute them so we can't actually hear what they're saying, and call them names all day. That seems to help the atheist.
That sounds better. Hold on. This guy's a piece of shit. Fuck Brett Keane. I hate Brett Keane irrationally for no reason whatsoever. Brett Keane is actual AIDS. He's the embodiment of everything that's wrong with the human condition. All right, I'm done. Let's go back.
Note what he's doing.
Apartheid.
Apartheid South Africa was better living conditions than having to deal with you for 1 second, bitch.
Here comes the Atheist Junior content.
Yeah.
Oh boy! All right.
Guys do it. They play other people's content and then talk trash. Me and you could do that, Stephen. We could put somebody's video up, mute them so we can't actually hear what they're saying, and call them names all day. That seems to help the atheist.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Atheist Junior is making a whole living out of doing that.
Oh, damn. What do you got to say to that, AJ?
Burn.
What do you got to say to that, bitch?
I would say not a living, a killing. Thank you.
That's a pretty good response. That's analogous to I think I'll cry into my big pile of money about that. Is what that's pretty analogous to.
I made $1,000 off my Emma Thorne video.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. $1,000 more than Steven made off of that. Give me Dr. Hoven's car fund. That's for sure. Fucking loser.
He made $1,000 off of Father Chuck.
That's true. That laptop didn't pay for itself. That's true.
I think we should all recognize and be a bit more respectful here, because what
okay.
we are listening to is actually Brett Keane having a sacred, very close relationship with a mac and cheese in this very moment.
Yeah, he's mid-hoagie.
While he's talking.
I wish you would go on face cam so badly, but I don't think that you could even capture the entirety of his face from space at this point. I think that's why they've done this, is because like the James Webb Space Telescope would have a hard time properly capturing this man's girth.
Hoven. Like his entire channel is nothing about declaring war on Kent Hoven's legacy.
Well, you do realize that no matter what Junior does, Kent Hoven has already imprinted himself on the universe many years before that guy got out of diapers. So,
okay, and how does that make his points any more relevant? Like, how is that an argument for Kent?
They're acting like Kent is dead.
Yeah, that's a good point.
His
actually,
legacy.
That's a good point. That's literally like saying, "Oh, like the steam engine is good. Let me tell you, we've been using sailing ships ever since you were long before you were even in fucking diapers, you stupid faggot." I don't think that's how that works. I think when you get a steam engine, you're probably going to use that because it's just better.
Congratulations on being born before me, Kent.
When we have these streams on Gangster Ghost channel, and I have to eat something, I mute myself. I stay quiet. It can take me literal hours to eat just the teeniest bit, because I don't want to be like in all of your ears. And here he sits. He has a scheduled interview with this guy, and he's like,
he can't help himself. I mean, like when Dorn comes in and dumps another lukewarm can of Chef Boyardee into Brett's trough, what is he supposed to do but eat at the trough? I mean, come on, dude.
He might, but it ain't gonna do nothing. Even with Kent's flaws and stuff, he's a way better person than that Junior ever.
Oh, he's got flaws. Steven, what do you got to say about that?
I'd love to know what the flaws are, according to Brett.
Yeah, that's true. Steven should, in a better world, Steven would have been like, "What flaws, Brett? What flaws are you talking?" That's when it would have become an actual like hardball interview. But that's in a world where Steven isn't a blithering fucktard. So I guess
and even with Kent's flaws, he'll always be a better person than me. Laughable.
Hey, AJ, how many women have you beaten? Just a quick question.
0.
Really? How many tax crimes have you committed?
0.
How many times have you been to prison?
I went to jail overnight once I got caught with weed.
Well, I mean, like, that seems pretty equivalent to selling your wife up the river so that you can get a slightly reduced sentence. I think that that's pretty equivalent when you really
How many
think
times
about
are you
it.
chasing Zelda?
Thousands, probably.
How many children have you exposed to toxic dust on your compound, AJ? How many children have you done that for? Not one.
I stay away from children. I don't like children. They're loud and they smell bad.
That's fair. It's also
They're
me
always
most of the time,
scream
but you
crying
guys
at the
put up-
grocery store. It's always the scream crying.
That is true.
Can someone explain this to me?
Well, if you just go up to them and mollywop them and tell them to like shape up, that'll probably get them on the right
What about the
track.
old women that get in line in front of you and they write a check and they wait until like the last minute to reach in their purse?
Getting out pennies, counting the change.
1, 2. I lost count. Hold on. 1, 2. How much was it? $124.99. Okay, almost there. $1. 101. 102.
Big Bad Mama tried taking his shillings to the store once, and they tragically rejected his generous offer.
I did take New Zealand coins out one time, and they caught one looked like a quarter.
And they caught you.
It's a
That's
true
when the
story,
paddy
yeah.
wagon. That's when the paddy wagon came rolling around the corner.
After the stream, do you guys want to have a cubit measuring contest?
A cubit, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that sounds
All right,
great.
cool.
What's another obscure measurement? Let's.
Rod,
No, that's too
Farthing?
widely known. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Or could be.
Abandoning this joke.
Oh, by the way, that's the banana guy that you're talking about.
Oh,
Good
that was
everybody.
him. You're right.
Did you hear that?
Yes. Soot. Go
Good
display
night,
your
everybody.
affection elsewhere.
Are you kissing
Have a good
Dustin
night.
again?
Big Bad Mama, I swear to God, if you make this devolve into a cage match between you and Dustin, behave.
Screw you, Dustin.
I think Big Bad Mama's been pretty inoculated against my tactics.
That's good to
I'm
hear.
coming over there, Dustin. Where are we gonna meet?
Oh, meet you at the bike
I'm
rack.
sorry.
Man, I wish you would make a trip to Noah's Ark in Kentucky with us. We're trying to get a bunch of creationists to go there and protest the atheist protest. And Atheist Junior's
That's so lame. Imagine showing up. Hey, mute up, you two. Get a room.
Ignite it.
Get a room.
Mute that.
one of many people you know that'll be there.
You know what? You're right.
United way.
I don't know. You leave me no choice, Deviant.
And I can't wait to be able to engage him in debate face to face.
That'd be difficult for me. You know, my patience level is very low. I have a hard time not having flashbacks of WWE wrestling.
No, I don't think that's the
That's
reason.
right.
I think the reason is that if Brett got into an extemporaneous debate with somebody and they just totally shit canned him, he wouldn't have any choice but to stand there and continue to be an idiot. He can't kick them out of a cup. I swear to God, you two. I swear to God. You know,
Mute
nice.
yourself. We're listening to Brett Keane.
Yeah, shut up.
But it would be really funny because Aaron Raw is going to be there too. And he would almost have to pay you homage because if it wasn't for you, he would be a
Homage?
nobody. He basically mimicked your every move to get where he is.
But he ain't doing a very good job of it.
You can tell that he's not even rushing to finish his bite. He's just like, yeah, I'm halfway through this burger, so I'm gonna finish this bitch. All right.
The Gothic Fabio is what I refer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you done with Soot, Deviant?
Yes. How much do you want to bet that Bolin thinks it's AJ because he doesn't know the difference between AJ and Joe.
Well, that is a good point. You know what? If Brett did show up to the ARC protest, that would be encouragement enough for me to go. I really would. At that point, if I could face the manatee, that would be pretty cool. But he's never going to do that.
No, he claims he's got agoraphobia, and that even when Dawn takes him out on the highway, sounds like a dog, for an exercise, even then has to, grit his teeth to get through that.
Wait,
Plus,
she
you'd have to
takes
get
him out
trained.
on the highway.
For me, I gotta make it
You'd
to
have
this
to-
protest. If you guys want me to get there, you're gonna have a flatbed and a hot tub with special water for me.
You'd have to remove the joinery. You'd have to remove the doors to get him out of the house and get a crane in, I think so.
Yeah.
Make sure you have enough hot dog water in that pour so I can properly marinate in the situation. All right, let's go.
Refer to him as.
And nobody put the alcohol
Right,
in there
he's
like
the
they
only
did
poster
last
child.
time. You spiked the black bath and I made an ass out of myself.
They have right now. Mark Reed is falling off. Grayson base theories.
Mark Reed has fallen off. Yeah. As opposed to you, Steven. Your channel is just in its renaissance right now, isn't it? Never a better time to be watching the Proverbs guys with all three other people that are watching.
I mean, Grayson's channel is blowing up. He's
all the
talking about
pagans flock to
Grayson.
the ark.
Like subjectively wrong.
And my pagans, guys, is better than yours.
My milkshake
Falling
brings all
Off. All the big ones are falling off.
Grayson took off. He seemed like he had a little bit more charisma than the usual baboon. What happened to him?
Well, because he came to Dinosaur Adventureland on a visit and said nice things while he was here, and then as soon as he left, he did a trash talking video, basically calling it a cult. And I guess
I'm pretty sure that that's not how that actually went. I'm pretty sure that he had issue with Kent and didn't have a problem with saying some of the issues he had with Kent to his face. But hey, nice revisionist history there, Bolin.
Well, who cares? Nobody's holding that against Grayson. I mean, Grayson's channel's blowing up. He's doing really well. So
Yeah, and I mean that is true that did happen. That Grayson went there. He went there. He was cordial to Kent. Obviously, like he's not gonna tell him like "fuck you" in his face or anything.
Yeah, like get up in his face or something.
And
like
then
that.
yeah, and then he went home and made a video calling DAL a cult. That's not an insult. That's just him stating a fact. And Kent calls evolution a cult all the time. So like. Again, like
Yeah.
why?
well, and
is it
Bolin is
okay
saying
for Kent to do-
that's the reason his channel has fallen off, and his channel hasn't fallen off. So that's just a outright lie.
Yeah, he's literally getting more views right now than he has been before. I'm pretty sure he's been getting more. So the
Yeah, he's
idea
doing
that he's
collabs
just,
with Professor Dave.
yeah, the idea that he's
Right.
just totally irrelevant nowadays. And Professor Dave is actually, and I don't mean to pay any offense to anybody because I am an actual nobody. I don't have a channel with any videos on it whatsoever. But I've certainly contributed to a channel or two in my time. And I can say from that level of experience that acting like Grayson and Mark Reed are falling off is such cope for the fact that that's so obviously the case for you, Steven. Like, I really don't get if they're falling off, and if that's somehow an indication that they're wrong, then I guess you just shot yourself in the foot, didn't you? Because you're the best showcase of that out of anybody.
some sort of moral code because nobody thought it was in good taste.
Oh, so he went there, and
Not
while he
true.
was in front of Kent, he treated him with love and respect. But then he comes back, it's on video, runs his mouth. Typical daily atheist. Yep.
Yes. However, there are exceptions to the rule. For instance, Jackson Rowe, I've met him a couple times at Dinosaur Adventureland, and he's a salt of the earth kind of guy. Really is.
I'm not sure Jackson Rose is an actual
Why'd you say that?
atheist.
You think he's
Yeah.
pretending? You think he's a plant?
He's
a Christian plant.
maybe it's possible. I don't see him hanging around too many other atheists too often.
I mean, just hanging around other Christians, like hanging around Christians is not inherently an indication that you're not an atheist. I hang around Christians as well, but I also hang around other atheists too, I suppose. So
I just have my suspicion. I don't know.
That's
He
fair.
seems really chummy with Kent.
Yeah, and he's not well liked among the atheist community. Like a lot of people dislike Jackson Rowe for how he mistreated an animal he was importing. I think.
Well, he was
something like that.
importing endangered species, and he got busted big time for it.
Yeah.
I remember
I
that.
I don't know who you are talking about.
that's what your average
He's debated
everyday
Kent
salt.
2 or 3 times.
That's what your average
okay.
everyday salt of the earth kind of.
He's debated Ken a bunch of times.
100, 2 or 300.
Yeah.
He's a really respectable guy. He's been here multiple times, and even though he, holds to the
Is he like the Christian heel? Is he like the guy that WWE brings out like once every week so that he can get his ass beaten in front of everyone? Oh my God, the heel just took the steel chair again. No. I feel like that's kind of the capacity that he serves then, if he's been in that many debates and he's just so respectable on their side of things. That kind of sounds like the capacity that he serves for them.
belief of evolution. He's open to being shown evidence. And even if he disagrees with you, he's just a generally sincere, nice guy.
Are you talking about a non-believer or?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he literally said his name like 10 seconds ago, Brett. Can you like at least pretend like you're paying attention in this interview? Holy shit. I love it because Steven throughout this interview has had to feign caring so many times. He's been like, oh wow, that's really interesting. Like these are two people that could not give less of a shit about each other that are both sitting here putting on airs. It's fascinating.
Yeah, he's an atheist. No,
You
he's
actually
full
met an
fledged
atheist
atheist.
that knows how to listen and have a conversation? What kind of miracles are you weaving on me?
Not only that, man, but he loves this place. He comes here and visits like, once every couple of years.
Oh, come on. You had your pet atheist, Adam Lohr, on your show all the time, Brett. You're always like, atheists are shitbags, but Adam Lohr, he's a good guy. He's really what? He's not included in that anymore? Now all atheists are shitbags. Okay.
It might do you some good to come visit.
Kent has repeatedly asked me in the past to come down there. Unfortunately, although I've gotten a little bit better with this, I still have the agoraphobia issue.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot better at it, though. My wife, from time to time, will actually take me out on a highway, and I try to adapt to it. But
You weren't kidding, Claude. It really does sound like he's a dog getting taken out for a walk.
But he says she takes him out on the highway. That's like, what, to chase cars?
Yeah, like
every once in a while, my wife will bring around the flatbed, strap me down to it so I can.
Beep, beep, beep. All right, sweetie, it's ready. Get ready to roll over. All right.
Remember what happened last time? My insurance won't cover it this time, just so you know.
Brett rolls over, the ground starts rumbling. Next thing you know, the National Weather Service is like, a magnitude 4 earthquake has been recorded in Missouri.
I do, from time to time, have the anxiety attack, so I got to be careful with that. If there were back roads all the way
right, let's
there, that
speed
would
this
work.
up.
I mean, you wouldn't be leaving the South. You would just be driving deeper into the South. So, yeah, I think we could find a route that was all back roads. And maybe we could find some kind of van where we could black out the windows and set you up with a computer and mobile Wi-Fi in the back.
I don't know, man.
Could you imagine that Brett Keane just languishing in the back of some van somewhere? Like he's like a wandering attraction in a freak show. He's like one of those cages for elephants that they like hook up to the back of a car and just bring it in. Here we go.
This is what I'm saying though. Like Boland's
You'd
talking
need like a
about
full
Brett Keane
crew
in
of
the
guys
back
with
of a
buckets.
van. It's so weird.
What was that? Sorry, AJ.
I was just saying, like the stuff Boland says, he's talking about putting Brett Keane in the back of a van, a panel van with the windows blacked out. Like it's just weird.
Yeah, it is kind of.
You'd need like a full crew of men and buckets of water just to keep them from freaking drying out.
All right,
Well-
Brett, we've rented an 18-wheeler for you. We've got a whole tank for you ready and everything.
When the FBI or SWAT teams have to stake out criminals for a long time and they want to have the car turned off, they keep a giant block of dry ice in the back of the van. Maybe that would help keep Brett Keane cool.
I feel like that block of dry ice probably has a higher room temperature than Brett's IQ. That's my view.
You guys brought the wrong damn size block of ice again.
I want to be encased in like the monster in the beginning of the Thing.
I want to be put in carbonite for the journey like Han Solo in that situation. They can throw me out when
like
I'm
Walt
there.
Disney.
Yeah, it's just Brett's head in a jar.
A Nazi.
And buried on the compound and all that. I don't know.
You know, the thing is I've been here so many times, and I've never come across any of the bizarre things that are claimed to have been here.
Except for pedos.
Seen a lot of
Yeah, yeah. Never mind the fact that the main thing that's been claimed that multiple pedophiles have been around. Sorry, PDF files have been around that compound and have done things before in the past and have literally brought children in tow with them. Yeah, you know, those things, though, aren't true either. Totally baseless.
the videos of the place, and also seen videos where people visited, and it looks very, very peaceful and beautiful and all that. So I don't know where people get that. Maybe it's at nighttime, everybody turns into vampires or something.
Well,
I literally remember Brett back in the day saying,
"Oh, everybody in the world, you think you could just put up a couple of fucking shacks somewhere and then call yourself a minister? I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen."
and how he's like,
It's the most peaceful of me. It's like Nirvana over there. You know, they've really reached inner peace in the dinosaur adventure situation.
we do have an atheist who's commenting, so we'll go ahead and give it some shout out. It's Zachary, and we are not all jerks, guys. Just like you, if you start treating us poorly, it's fair game. How's different from your end? So I'll let Brett answer this first.
dang, that's a good question. That's a good
Great
question.
comment.
I'm actually going to slow it down for this one. Yeah, he was saying before in the chat earlier today that he made some good comments, and yeah, he did not disappoint from this
And
one.
then I'll go give it a whack too.
Well, I feel like his comment was actually fair. If he is going to be decent and respectful right off the bat, unless he's pushed or something, that sounds fair. That's the way I am. I'll be respectful until somebody pushes. So I'm impressed with that. Usually the atheist starts off with the insults and initiates the fire.
All right, so I'll have to agree that that is a fair comment. However, I would point out,
Of course, you're going to agree with Brett, Steven. What a fucking shock.
I actually agree with what you just said right there, Brett.
Oh, wow. Like, I desperately want this interview to just please say something interesting. Please try to make this interview at least halfway entertaining.
I mean, the last time Bolin had a thought of his own is when he put a 6-foot roof on a house. So
Yeah,
I think we should all be thankful that he's just regurgitating things now.
Bolin, the 6'2" man, put a 6-foot roof on this woman's cabin, shorter than he was. Yeah. Sorry.
I
Dustin,
feel
go
like
ahead.
we should have like a golf tournament going on in the background. Right? they're like talking subtly with each other.
We see here, Steven tries to line up another decent question for Brett. Oh my goodness, it went right off into the weeds yet again. Oh, wow.
Oh, there's
Steven.
a sand trap.
Yeah, Stephen trying to get his question out of the sand trap. Oh, it's into the pond yet again. Oh my goodness. It looks like it's going to be 4 over par for Stephen yet again.
Okay, Elon.
Hey. I was going to say something, but never mind. You're just mean.
One thing to chew on, maybe, Zachary, and that is the statistics for atheists who troll Christian channels versus Christians who troll atheist channels is way
Bro, I've literally seen you try to stir crap. You send people over to stir crap up on other people's channels. Like, don't even get me started about that bullshit.
Can we see these statistics?
Yeah, like, where are these statistics being brought out from besides the deep, dark depths of nowhere?
Where's the president?
That's a good question. Shouldn't the president of the YouTube channel be doing this interview? Why is this random nobody doing this interview?
Random posy.
Random posy. That was good.
I already said before, I wanted Dan to be in this interview. He would have made it way more entertaining. I can guarantee you that.
Disproportionate. There are a lot more nasty trolls on your side, unfortunately, that make YouTube heck for us.
Also, how does that address his question literally at all? Like, if there's more of them doing that, that does not excuse the fact that he is saying, we're not all jerks, guys. Just like you, if you start treating us poorly, it's fair game. How is this different from your end? You saying, oh, well, you guys are bigger jerks than we are, does not refute that in any way, shape, or form, Bolin.
And what did Mark Reed and Doc Dino do, for example, that they deserve to have monkeys put over their pictures? And they were totally respectful. And the reason they don't go on Proverbs Guys is because he's rude to them. Achilles and Stephen are rude to atheists.
Oh yeah, they're inherently just pompous and arrogant, and they have this idea that, oh, we're going to bring these people on just to make a big comedy spectacle out of them and laugh at them. And then they throw their hands in the air and wonder why nobody ever wants to go on their shows and why they quote unquote ran off all the atheists. No, we just realized that we didn't want to waste our time going on a platform that clearly did not have a single iota of actual respect for any kind of reasonable discussion.
Well, if you're going to establish any kind of truth between two individuals, it's not going to be a good idea to mock one of the individuals involved in the truth discovery.
No.
Not just for Christians, but also for, I don't know if you've seen a while back, the Satanists and the atheists were getting into it for a while there for about a year. It was bad, real bad. And then the Muslims and atheists have had a lot of trouble. But I don't know what it is. Most atheists usually try to treat Muslims nice. It's probably because they're concerned about the whole beheading thing.
I've never I've never gotten this narrative. And I know for a fact that Brett has literally just taken this narrative from other people that,
oh, atheists always like to talk about Christians, but what do they have to say about Islamic situations?
It's like, okay, well, first and foremost, Christians make up a large majority of the society that I live in, whereas Muslims make up a very small minority. And secondly, I've never seen any atheists that are very critical of Christians ever go, but yeah, Muslims are okay, though. Like, yeah, maybe Christians have it wrong, and maybe they have a whole bunch of faulty ideas about things, but Muslims, man, I just give them a pass. I've never heard that once.
Not to mention the fact that when you look at like atheists that are active on YouTube, and I guess the same goes for other social media, are oftentimes in Europe and in the US themselves former Christians, which is why they engage in these discussions. So we're going to have a much better idea and understanding of what the faith actually entails. It's very hard to to engage in something that you don't really, you know, the core beliefs, but it's not like you have read the entire book, especially not in classical Arabic. Thank you. Arabic. There you go. Thank you, Dustin.
No problem.
Sorry.
Somewhat of a savior, are you?
Thing, but besides
I mean,
that,
he is.
they usually give everybody trouble.
All right. Yeah, good, fair point there. That's an interesting point. You know, not too long ago.
Literally just going through the motions of a conversation. Good point. Wow, great point. That's an interesting point. Just, can you attempt?
And swinging a miss right there, he gave all of his effort into that point. There. It didn't go anywhere. It was just sitting there on the tee. I can't see, like I saw the club go right by the ball.
Steven tries to line up another shot. Oh, it seems that he's hit his driver directly into his foot yet again. Oh, no. Seems that he's thrown his club down and is now storming off of the course. He's gotten into his golf cart. Seems that he's angrily swerving it into a pond right now. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
And here comes a squirrel, comes and takes the ball off of the tee.
Okay, Elon, let's get back to it.
Sorry, Big Bad Mama.
Okay. So you had those shows where you were engaging with the Satanists. Whatever happened to that?
Well, the guy, he was interesting enough, and I thought Christians would like the opportunity to be on a neutral show where they could try to bring them over to Christ and all that and sow seeds. But unfortunately, the head guy of the satanic group, he kept on over and over trying to encourage me to join his, satanic club or whatever. And I said, dude, I am totally for Jesus. I'm totally for God. I know I come off friendly and I'm a nice guy and all that, but don't get it twisted. I am never going to join your satanic shiznit. I said it in a little.
Oh, I was muted. Whoops. I'm totally for Jesus. I'm totally for God. Says the guy that on literally dozens of occasions at this point has flip-flopped between, I'm a God believer. Never mind, I'm actually an atheist again, guys. I'm going back to the old Brett. Like he starts playing his old intros and stuff and going, I'm questioning my faith situation. Like he's done that so many times in the past, but no, he is a steadfast warrior for Jesus.
He's such a nice guy too. Yeah, he said he was.
He did say, you're right. Kind of like how God is good. I mean, he said he is after all. So
yeah. A little bit more rougher way than that he could understand. But he basically stated, well, if you're not going to join it, then I don't see why I should talk to you. And I said, no, wait a minute. You can't just hang out, talk, chill out. I got to join your cult in order for you to be friendly to me. That's kind of dumb. And he goes, yeah, that's the way it is. And I said, and here you are.
Brett, you're right. It is really dumb and retarded and regressive to only be friendly to a group of people if they abide by the same cult that you do. Like it's really dumb to do a show on YouTube and basically make the whole pretense of the show that we're an echo chamber for a certain religious idea, and everybody who doesn't adhere to those ideas is endlessly going to be maligned and made fun of and undermined in every single possible way. That would be really dumb if somebody did that on a constant basis, wouldn't it, Steven?
You are telling Christians that they push things on the people, and you're doing that to me. That's not very nice.
True. Yeah. Well, man, that kind of stinks. But now that you've patched things up with TTOR, he's one of our hosts here now. Are you guys going to start collaborating again together?
Well, he's already emailed me back and forth a couple times asking me if he could use some of my music for his church and all that. And I told him he could use my music for pretty much anything. And that goes for you as well. I don't really.
Oh God, some congregation out there has had to be subjected to Brett's music, his AI slop. Ugh, gross.
And just remember that whilst TTOR was critical of the, shall we say, PDF friends that Kent was inviting to DAL, Bolan, of course, and to another extent, Brett were defending that. So there is a
That's
big
very
difference
true.
between the two. Yeah.
No, that's very true, because the fact that I said that, good point, Claude, actually, because early on when TTR started coming on the Proverbs Guys channel, I was kind of baffled by that, because Steven is so overwhelmingly pro Kent. And for TTOR to have made all of those very scathing anti-Kent videos back in the day that really called him out very thoroughly. Like, TTOR was actually, I would say that he was a better voice for the anti-Brett, or anti-Kent rather, community than some atheists were. You know, I think that he did a really good job at exposing some of the really nasty parts of Kent. So the fact that he's such good buddies with Steven right now is just kind of baffling to me. Like, have they both just collectively decided that they're going to forget about that? They're just sweeping that under the rug. That never happened, I guess.
And actually, Brett was very critical of Hovind for that at certain times. At other times, he kind of turned a blind eye and just said he supported Kent. But he never really tried to defend Kent with the Chris Jones stuff. And a couple times he was super critical of Kent about that issue. Just setting the record straight.
That's how we all met, as a matter of fact. Well, to a certain degree, was that whole Kent Hovind thing and that whole trauma.
Yeah, that's how I met you, Dustin. That's for sure.
I sort of agree that, yes, at times Brett was critical of Kent and those people that came to his Adventureland, but other times he wasn't. And I think I got a bit of a stoush with him and probably blocked a few times because I pointed out some uncomfortable truths. So I don't give a free pass on that yet. He was mixed, shall we say, at best. He was confused.
I never heard him say that he supported bringing Chris Jones bringing kids to DAL.
Well, he's never going to say that. He's never going to say that. But what he is going to do is have an.
I'm contrasting him with Steven.
Yeah, no, I get that. No, I get that, and that is true. Like the difference between Brett's stance on Hovind and TTOR's stance on Hovind. The reason why I was more shocked at TTOR's behavior was because TTOR was a lot more consistent when it came to Kent. True. He seemed like he was very much so, I'm taking a firm stance against this behavior. I'm not going to accept it. We're going to absolutely malign this behavior and not allow it. And now it just kind of seems like he's forgotten about it. Whereas with Brett, I expect him to do that. I expect him to flip-flop all over the place and one moment act like he's Kent's biggest supporter and the next just, you know, bring up all the horrible things that Kent has done and call him a piece of shit. Because that's just typical Brett behavior. That's how he's always been.
That's how some investment firms do it, right? We tell this group of people to bet on this stock. We tell that group of people to bet on that stock. And then we just cut it in half by whoever wins.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Consider what happened with me and TTOR and even the incident with you. It was an aggravating day, but it wasn't something like I turned off my computer and I said, I hate those son of a biscuits. I'm never.
You tried to take Steven's channel down, Brett. Like, this is the crazy thing, is that if Steven had any backbone whatsoever, if he had any balls, any clawed balls whatsoever, then he would point out to Brett, and he'd be like, I don't really think that's true, Brett. I think you did hate me at that time. I think you were trying to take my channel down at that time. And that's not just, oh, I was having a bad day. No, you had it out for me. But he's not going to say that. I guarantee you, I will bet every single penny in my bank account that he's just going to let that slide and go right along with this narrative like the little bitch that he is.
We're going to talk to them again kind of thing. Yeah, I think the reason why TTR might think that I'm angrier than what he imagined was because I literally left YouTube and come back for a while.
Okay, true, yeah. Well, you should definitely invite him onto your live panel, and I'm thinking about coming by and seeing your live panel show too, because it's been a long time since I've been on one with you.
Well, I don't know if we're going to get very many views over there, unfortunately. The channel just started. I've got some subscribers and all that, but I don't know who's going to join. I have the same problem as you, where non-believers don't want to come in. They don't want to have a discussion.
You do that to yourself, you ignoramus. You have caused that problem for yourself.
They do come in, they usually scream the N-word, or, you know, that they want to do something to my face or something, but I can't seem to get them to stick around for 5 minutes, no matter how nice I am.
Who is the atheist that has screamed the N-word at Brett?
Oh, just
I imagine it's happened, but I don't think he's got it on video.
Just evil atheists, you know, just that vague and now just.
As opposed to N-word guy, the Christian.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's get him on here. Let's get his opinion on that.
No, I mean, I'm not. I get that someone could take what I just said as me saying, "Oh, an atheist would never do that." Of course, there are asshats everywhere. It's not like this is not an issue of they good, they bad, or we good, them bad.
What you mean it's not issue of that? Everything they good or they bad.
I'm just very confused by someone calling Brett Keane the N-word. I get
He's literally
someone
tried pulling that for years, Deviant. I really hate to interrupt you, but it's worth bringing up. Brett has tried pulling this card of this person or that person's called me the N-word for literally like over a decade now. And you're right, it makes no sense whatsoever. Like you're white, Brett.
Is Brett even black? Yeah, I was gonna say, is he even black? Like, I don't understand. What am I missing here?
And there are so many other things you could legitimately call him, because I don't doubt for a second that people has been pissed off at him and told him off in maybe not ways that he would prefer, because that's often the case when you have been
sure
asshat to someone. You're not going to like what they have to say to you.
Did he say maybe the N-word, not the N-word? Do you mean maybe manatee instead of?
No,
Okay.
I promise you, dude. He has literally tried pulling this card for over a decade now.
I mean, you know, the worst I've ever said about him is liking him to a Zeppelin and said, "Oh, the humanity." It's kind of like a bit of a joke.
No, it's
no
good.
manatee.
but if Brett was on there going, somebody called me a huge manatee or whatever the fuck, then people wouldn't feel bad for him. So he tries using this extremely derogatory, socially unacceptable word because he knows that elicits sympathy from people when they're called that unjustly. So he's trying to elicit empathy from other people when he does that.
And that's kind of my point, because that's the MO I've seen from him before, where he's gonna completely misrepresent a situation. He's going to lie, and he's going to draw up like his family and things that happened a long time ago, and be like, "Oh, woe is me! Here comes this evil person being all nasty to me, and I have done nothing." And you have been there for the entire freaking horror saga.
Yeah.
And the only thing people has done is like say on streams like this, like, you did this. This is why it's wrong. Why have you? why did you porn bomb Mrs. Parker, for instance? But instead of that, he's like, I can't.
Did she really just drop
That was insane. Even Steven's laughing. Listen.
That does make it hard.
Oh, it was a fake laugh, so you couldn't really hear it. Damn it, Steven just wants an actual laugh to work with.
I'm shaking my head.
I still can't believe you even attempted that.
Hey, we have a deviant bullying quota around here.
No, I'm not bullying. I think that's hilarious. She gave it her best shot, even.
She did. No, she did. We give her a pat on the head, proverbially, for that.
That was
good.
good.
A pretty
deviant
following and our traction with our
I
followers.
love you too, Dustin.
Hold on. The delusion continues. Listen.
Hard to do YouTube sometimes. Well, we've got a pretty decent following, and our traction with our followers is picking up now. So that's all.
Our traction with our followers. Are you a tire company, Steven? I didn't realize,
bro, dude.
Traction of your followers was a metric that you could measure in your algorithm. I didn't realize.
What was it for a month solid? They used to put in the background the numbers that their channel was growing by.
Oh, you're right, dude. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they totally tried using that as a flex for the longest time, and now they've just been dead in the water, and that number has mysteriously disappeared from their stream.
The only reason they had that there was because of the shorts.
All right, so I just want to let everybody know real quick, I'm going to switch over from sharing this screen to sharing a different screen. I'll go back to that one, but I want to share with everybody this epic traction that's growing between all of these different streams on this channel. So we have Brett's video, which broke 100 views. That's not bad for Proverbs, guys. Breaking 100 views. I mean, never mind the fact that they have 2,080 subscribers and 1,800 video. Good God, 1,800 videos. What a tragedy that is. But yeah, 101 views. That's not bad. I honestly expected Brett to get more than that. But for the Proverbs guys, 101 is not all that bad because as you see, 21, 19, 22, 21, 35, 22. Like, you've got to go. I actually, because we were talking about this on Claude's show last night, and I went back through his channel to look through the history of all of his videos, and you have to go 2 months back. I think you have to go even further than this to find one stream of theirs that's broken over 100 views. And, you just contrast that with what happens with Gangster Ghost streams where he struggles not to break 100 views. I don't think that there's been a single one of Gangster Ghost shows that hasn't broken 100 views in months and months now. So
have you been monetized, GG? He's not here.
He's not here at the moment, but no, he hasn't monetized. But the reason why I think is because GG does legitimately just treat this as a hobby. He's not interested in making this a career where he's making a bunch of money. He really does just want to do this as something that he's passionate about because he really does enjoy bringing everybody together in a community. But I think I've made my point. This traction that Steven is talking about is a laughable, non-existent joke. So
if he's talking about skid marks, I can understand what he's talking about.
That was good. That was really good, actually. That was good.
Our shorts are starting to get attention. So hopefully we're on an uphill climb. And, we can definitely do more interviews with you and try to help plug all your stuff.
Uphill climb? What?
Yeah, that's a good question. What was that? What did he say?
Doesn't that mean he said we're on an uphill climb? That's not the right way to put that, I think.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure when something snowballs, it means it's rolling downhill, not
right?
Going uphill. You can't gather traction going up. Okay, never mind.
Well, no. Now remember, we're talking about skid marks here. Okay.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Thank you for the reminder, Dustin. I had forgotten.
So hopefully we're on an uphill climb. And, we can definitely do more interviews with you and try to help plug all your stuff and try to get your YouTube going again.
Well, I'd definitely be interested in working with you. It is nice to see that you've got some nice atheists out there, and definitely a lot of decent religious folks. Oof, it's hard to find in social media, man. Oof.
No, the problem is, Brett, is that you've befriended legions of people over the years and not been able to hold down a single friendship out of all of those people that you've befriended. Because every single person that you've befriended over all that time, you have inexorably stabbed in the back and fucked over and done so in the most hurtful public way possible. That's why they're apparently so hard to find, because there's not a lot of people in this world willing to put up with your level of bullshit, Brett.
Would you ever consider doing like a moderated debate?
Well, I thought about it in the past. I actually contacted that Standing for Truth, and I thought he and I got along pretty good. And I said, hey, man, I wouldn't mind debating some of these non-believers and all that. And he goes, oh, that's cool, man. I'll get set up sometime. So 2 months go by. I email him back. I'm like, hey, man, you got something set up for me? Oh, man, I forgot. I'm sorry.
He got blown off by Standing for Truth. Wow. And that guy, Dottie's usually like looking for people too. So that wasn't like a mistake on his part. It wasn't just, oh, whoops, you just got lost in the folder. He probably looked up Brett and saw all the reprehensible shit that he's done over the years and was like, oh, do I really want this blubbery fuck on my channel? Like, do I really want to have this guy tarnish what little reputation I have left on this website? Probably not. So I think that's probably the reason why, Brett.
Yeah, the sinking ship doesn't need to put another hole in its freaking
hole. Yeah. Yeah.
So I pretty much got the blues clues that he wasn't really all that interested. There was another group.
Wow, even you were capable of figuring that out, and you're dense as fucking shit, Brett. So I'm impressed. It was that blatantly obvious, huh?
Group out there called Modern Day Debate. Have you ever heard of that?
I have.
Oh yeah, yeah. Standing for Truth, an objectively smaller, more irrelevant platform didn't platform me. So let me go to Modern Day Debate. That's like saying that freaking The Tonight Show blew you off. So let me go give Larry King a call and see what he's up to in the situation. Like, that's not how that works, Brett. You don't go upward when you're rejected.
Actually reached out to me. They invited me. So I went over to their channel to look at what they got, and I noticed that they, how shall I say, they kind of tag teamed against the Christians.
Modern Day Debate tag teams against the Christians?
Okay, pause.
Yeah, it's paused.
So earlier in this video, you heard Brett, I think, one of them complaining that, or maybe it's right here, that, it's like having a Christian in a lion's den with an atheist, like he's outnumbered. Meanwhile, like their whole his snot on the rock thing and the banana thing came from a video that's on my channel where I debated 4 people at the same time: Brett, Ken Hovind, Bolin, and then this other guy. And it's like, was that like?
Oh, that never happened, AJ.
Yeah, was that unfair?
No, that never happened because they didn't get the outcome they wanted from that engagement, AJ. So that actually never happened. You need to understand.
I see.
And I realized, oh, I see how they're doing this. They're playing a game here for the atheist. So I don't, if it's not a
modern day debate is one of the most unbiased people in the debate scene. Like, I'm pretty
Look
sure
at what
that
happened to Matt Dillahunty.
Yeah, like, he's not some pro-atheist shill out there. I'm pretty sure he is an atheist, the guy who runs modern day debate.
No, he's Christian, actually.
Is he
No, he's Christian. Yeah, he's Christian.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that he was atheist because he's literally so, and I'm not saying that as though Christians are incapable of impartiality, but I did get the impression that he was, just because he is so freaking impartial when it comes to those debates. So the fact that they're calling him like some atheist shill when he's literally a Christian is laughable. That just goes to show that when the deck isn't inherently stacked in the favor of bad ideas, of course they've got to come up with some other excuse as to why that's the case.
Yeah, because Brett's a narcissist and he cannot take any criticism. He cannot fail. He cannot admit that he might be in the wrong.
Or that he's ever done any wrong, really ever.
Exactly.
Like, no matter how glaringly, blatantly obvious it is that he has fucked up and done something incredibly disturbingly wrong. Like, try to drop somebody's docs to a crazy person who has a history of stalking people online by showing up in their cities and threatening them. Like, that kind of behavior. That's one of the reasons why I'm on here, like, doing this interview. If people are in the audience right now going, man, why are they being so harsh on Brett? It's because Brett, you cannot be harsher on Brett than Brett has on other people. It's just impossible. You can't sink lower than Brett.
A playground, I'm not going to it.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. I have connections with Donnie from Standing for Truth, one of my favorite YouTube channels on all of YouTube. So you guys be sure to check out Standing for Truth. And he has a lot of atheists that do debates on his channel. So I'll reach out to Donnie and ask if he knows any atheists that would be willing to do a debate with you if you want. And I'll moderate it on Proverbs, guys.
Well, it's fine with me, but you know how I am with the way I do my podcast and all that. I usually like to just try to, because if you say the word debate, it'll scare the hell out of the atheists. They'll be like, oh, they don't like that whole.
You were literally invited to do a debate on, by your own admission, you were invited to do a debate on modern day debate, and you refused to do it. So how is that, like, which one is it, Brett? Is it that the atheists are just too scared and chicken shit to go and do it? Or when you're offered a platform to go and debate an atheist, is it fine for you to just back out because the host isn't blatantly biased towards your worldview?
I don't want to get tag teamed, like, but them atheists, they're scared of debate.
Also note that Stephen says, well, look, I've got connections with SFT. I'll organize it. But then he says he'll be the moderator. I mean, how does that figure?
That's a good point.
Yeah. So the other thing is, of course, that you will notice that since Sandra left Ovent, SFT has distanced himself from Ovent. You won't have seen any
debates. That is a good point.
It's because Hovind lost his channel, though. That's the reason.
Was it? All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's because he lost his channel, and so Donnie didn't want to be seen as platforming him.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, it was a good story.
I'm not positive about that, but that's what I think.
No, you're right. I think you're right.
You made Claude cry.
I know.
I'm
just an a-hole today.
Yeah, you're mean to me.
Screw you all.
Wait,
you're mean to
did
Chuck.
you say today? Implying that this isn't the usual course?
I'm Aiden. I'm trying to, like, bring him down to a more civilized state
Shut
of
up.
mind. He's
Keep rocking, big bad mama.
time
He's
thing and all
obviously
this.
completely
But if you
rabid
say,
at this point.
look, if you want to come in and have an open discussion, things like that, more than welcome to come in. All you got to do is be friendly. And we have kind of like a back and forth and all this. That's cool. But just if you say debate, I guarantee it's going to be right out the window.
And you want to do more of a one-on-one type of deal, right? You don't want an open panel?
No, I don't mind there being non-believers in. If you know who they are, you've talked to them before, and you feel like they'll be respectful and friendly, then I'll go along with what you're saying. But if you bring in random people and they start screaming obscenities and all that, then, well, the patience level and attention deficit goes right out the window.
No, I mean, yeah, that's fair.
The attention deficit goes right out the window, implying by saying that you weren't paying attention before, but now you are paying attention, which I'm pretty sure is the exact opposite of what you were trying to convey there, Brett, but good try. Good try. I'm glad that you picked up yet another 50-cent college word that you heard somewhere, and rather than actually looking into it, you just kind of appropriated it into your language situation. You're just going to start using it here and there. Who cares about what it actually fucking means?
Yeah, well, especially with some of the ones you've attracted, you've had some of the nastiest of the nasty. I can't count how many times you've been P-bombed, or how many times people have come on and called you the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
Once again,
I want to see this. I want to see that. Where is this supposed video of anyone saying the N-word to Brett Keane?
Dude, it isn't out there. It doesn't exist, bro. It's not out there. I swear, this guy endlessly just wants to victimize himself. Anytime that Brett gets into a conversation, he hands a couple of nails. He doesn't even hand anybody the nails. He nails himself to the freaking cross because it's not enough for someone else to nail him to it. He's got to get up there himself and make a murder situation. I just tried speaking the truth, and YouTube silenced me for no good reason. Never mind the fact I tried dropping a bunch of people's docs and sending a crazy person to stalk them in the situation. What an idiot.
Yeah. I've seen so much nudity and stuff. You'd think my channel should be called Pornhub. It's horrible.
I mean, I don't know if it's that bad, but
oh, dear God in heaven, dude. It's not like you don't ask for it, Brett. Have you listened to some of the shit you come up with at random? Fucking Jesus Christ. Listen to some of his shit. He'll just sprint off into a monologue about porn at random times. Like, it's not like he doesn't ask for it at all. Like, fucking just Jesus Christ.
I think that's the closest to pushback we're gonna get from Bull in that entire interview. And he's like, I don't think it's quite that bad. And it's like, oh wow, you actually almost had a ball sack there for a moment, Steven. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's not Pornhub. It's more like X videos.
It's more like X-Nix, you know?
You have been bombed quite a bit. Yeah.
Well, not just bombed. You got to understand that it's like what we're doing in here. When people are backstage on StreamYards, the other guests can't see what's happening whenever they're down below until you put them up on the screen. Well, it used to be like that, I guess. And people would do all kinds of nasty things down there. I guess they thought they were being broadcasted, but that's why I kicked a lot of people as they were showing off their, you know.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Nope.
Brett knows that that's not how that works because
he's
done it himself.
Exactly.
Like, if Brett was stuck backstage, he wouldn't be playing the freaking Amazing Atheist banana video for 4 hours, and they're just going, I'm getting away with this. I don't think even he's quite that retarded.
I'm going to watch this video in full over and over again.
He does, dude. He's obsessed with that video. It's creepy. It's really creepy.
So weird. You know what's funny is that's just an example of how TJ has managed to survive longer on YouTube is because the way that he handled that public scandal versus the way Brett Keane does is that TJ just embraced it. He was like, yeah, fuck it. That's me. Oh, well he embraced the meme.
I would argue that the scandal TJ got into was way more of a career-ruining scandal than the one that Brett got into. Like Brett, yeah, like plagiarism is bad, don't get me wrong, but it's not what TJ got exposed for doing, you know? Like it's not something that like if Brett had just
with TJ.
Oh, it's a thing. It's a whole thing. You can
It's a
look it
whole
up.
thing.
He just put a thing up his butt. Him jerking off.
Oh,
Yeah, it was the banana video. It was the banana.
Big deal.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
banana
gonna go
and
with
also
fingers.
pouring hot oil on his
that.
general.
That's true as well. But the thing is that is going to be something that's going to follow TJ as long as he's going to be on the internet. And you're right. He's embraced it. He's been like, oh, whatever. It's not a big deal. That's who I am. You know, fuck it. Go ahead and watch it. I don't give a shit. He embraced it. Whereas with Brett and the scandal that he dealt with, he handled it the worst way he possibly could. And look at where he is now. That's really the point I was trying to make.
But he has this amazing interview on the. I mean, Prolapse Boys is like the biggest Christian channel on the YouTube.
That's true. That's true.
He's made it.
In the 1 block radius of where Steven lives, he has the biggest YouTube channel. I have no doubt of that whatsoever. But I somehow feel like I somehow feel like Thomas James Kirk III is feeling a little bit better about his current position in life than Brett Keane is feeling about his current position in life. I don't know. There's just a slight inkling of that based on the fact that one of them has a successful podcast that makes hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars every month, and the other one is an irrelevant nobody.
What kind of disability do you think Brett's on?
Oh, he's 100% on Missouri disability, dude, for the agoraphobia that he supposedly suffers. I mean, like, that's been because people have always asked Brett, what kind of job do you have, Brett? People have asked him that for years and years. People have always wondered what Brett's career was. And the only answer that he ever gave of any actual substance back in the day was, I'm a published author. And yeah, he self-published books through Lulu, which was a self-publishing service. But it was clear because he sold them on Amazon that he was not getting nearly enough sales to actually be an author, because there was a guy named Nick Gisburn. He wrote a book called The Atheists Are Revolting. And only after like 42 sales of that book, he already surpassed all of Brett Keane's books in the all-time sales charts. So there's no way that Brett ever made enough money as an author to ever be able to make a living. He's 100% just languishing away on a mattress, just collecting money on the government dole for something that he doesn't actually have. There's plenty of people out there like it. Unfortunately,
that flatbed was paid for by the American taxpayer, and I am very appreciative.
What I find funny about it is that, you know, and the average American thinks that like those are lefty people that are doing that, but Brett is one of those like, I'm a Trump supporter in the situation. So I think it's a little bit more multifaceted than some people are willing to give it credit for. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, there's freeloaders on every party.
Well,
that's very true.
One of the nastiest trolls we ever picked up was AL from Canada. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, snap. This is the part that I was told about, isn't it? Oh, snap. I'm ready.
It gets worse.
It gets worse. Oh, snap. All right.
From Canada?
Well, his initials are AL. And he was from Canada, and he used to hang around your channel a lot.
I wonder who he means.
An elf from Canada.
Elf from Canada. That's right. That's exactly who he's talking. Can you not hear Brett? As the wax of all
I think
of
he's playing
years
dumb.
built up. You're probably right, AJ. I'm trying to make a joke. Shut up! I'm trying to make a joke, and you're just like trying to tell the obvious that he's just playing dumb right now, trying to avoid the fact that Steven's bringing up somebody that he absolutely maligns and despises and really rather pretend doesn't exist. Steven, thank you for this. You are a piece of garbage, but thank you for giving me this gift, Steven. This is pretty fun.
That's cold.
I don't know. I had a lot of weirdos in my room then.
First name Aiden.
Oh, you did it! You literally said the quiet part loud. Thank you, Steven. What's Brett gonna say? Oh, I'm giddy. I'm excited.
Oh, that guy. No, I would never talk to that fella. He's garbage. What Grace?
Oh, what? How could you say that?
I love how casually he slides that in. Just he's garbage.
He's garbage.
And I know garbage.
No,
it takes garbage to know garbage. Garbage recognizes garbage. I eat 2.5 tons of garbage every day, unprocessed, from the Missouri River. I just go and empty my disgusting manatee maw into the river on a daily basis and suck
You
all
ever
the
see the end of that
slop.
Stephen King movie, The Langoliers? It's basically what it looks like it when I'm at the all-you-can-eat buffet.
My popcorn is made out of 50% garbage. It's recycled.
A toilet, trash can, what's the difference?
Steven's mouth, a toilet bowl, and who knows? I can go with either one.
Yeah, there's a saying, don't shit where you eat. It's a good thing that I'm so fat that my ass is actually in a separate time zone than my mouth.
Yeah, I treated him good. I got him a bunch of money.
Play this whole thing over again.
Need to help him not.
All right.
From Canada, and he used to.
They were showing off their, their goods.
Yeah, well, one of the nastiest trolls we ever picked up was AL from Canada. You know who I'm talking about.
An L from Canada?
Well, his initials are AL, and he was from Canada, and he used to hang around your channel a lot.
An L from Canada.
He totally is signaling to Steven, like, all right, move the fuck on, bitch. I don't want to talk about this. And Steven's just too fucking dumb. He can't even get that. He just keeps storming on ahead. Thank you, Steven.
I don't know. I had a lot of weirdos in my room then.
First name Aiden.
Woo!
Oh, that guy. No, I would never talk to that fella. He's garbage. What Grayson did to Kent Hovind, that's basically what Aiden did to me. I treated him good. I got him sent a bunch of money to help him not get evicted.
You sent me a bunch. Wait a minute. You sent me a bunch of money to prevent me from getting evicted, eh, Brett? That's news to me. I didn't know.
Did he send you loonies and toonies, or did he send you?
I mean, maybe there's a money transfer that's sitting in my account that's just been there for years on end, Maybe I just haven't claimed it, and it's actually accrued enough in. It's like that Futurama episode where Fry goes back to his bank account where he got a couple of cents in it, and it's worth like $1.2 billion now because it's been in there so long that the interest made it grow so much. That's what it's going to be for this princely sum of money that Brett Keane sent my way to keep me from being evicted. All right, let's hear more of this, and then I'll tell the actual story.
From his home, and saved him and his girlfriend's life, and the next thing I know, he
saved your life.
Saved our lives. Wow. Holy shit.
What about that?
Did he provide himself as a flotation device in the middle of the ocean for you, Aiden? What are we missing here?
You know how the planet Jupiter is so massive in the solar system that it actually prevents comets from the asteroid belt from like hitting Earth and killing everybody? It's much the same for Brett. His gravitational force is so large that it actually prevents Earth from being hit by asteroids and comets. So in that way, Brett probably has saved my life on multiple occasions. So thank you, Brett.
Well, in that way, he saved everybody's life. He shouldn't have stopped with you.
Well, I mean, he's mentioning me specifically because if Brett is anything, Dustin, he's a humble man. He's a humble manatee.
He's trolling me. So screw that guy.
Yeah, you and I are pretty much on the same page, brother.
Oh, yeah, you saved my life too, Steven? Really? I didn't realize that both of you teamed up. at some point. No, so the actual story of this is me and my fiance were going to get evicted from our old place, and we ended up making a bit of a fundraiser at the time in order to get a bit of money to help us out. I mentioned that offhandedly to Brett on one of his streams, and I didn't even have any plan of promoting it whatsoever. But Brett was like, no, go ahead, throw it up in the chat. So I was like, okay, thanks, Brett. I appreciate that. Threw it up there, and I made sure to let people know at the time. I was like, hey, if you want to donate to this and you're from Brett Keen's audience, please put at the end of your message from Brett Keen's audience or something to that degree. I forget the specific language. But I made sure to denote, like, hey, if you leave a donation for me from Brett, let me know. And there was one person. And it wasn't Brett. It was somebody, something Sawyer from America. I genuinely can't remember the first name to save my life, but I still appreciate your donation.
So,
you know what? It might just be Claude. Just real quick, Dustin.
I would like to slide a motion on the. I would like to. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to finish the story. So there was one person who sent me $20 from Brett Keen's audience, and I made sure to go on his stream and shout out that person and say, hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I actually asked Brett if I could shout out each and every single person who did donate to that on his stream, even if only one went from his audience. And he was fine with that. So suffice it to say, this story where one person from his audience decided to give a bit of money that I still appreciate to this day has now become Brett personally giving money from his account to save our lives. Wow.
And that segues very nicely over onto my motion on the floor, which is to change the name of Brett Manatee and Stephen Boylan to Fat Man and the Boylan Wonder.
Fat man.
I mean, it would make sense because they got the Batman logo in the back. I'm just wondering, like, I can see Steven in like a red leotard and green shorts with a mask on. The Boylan Wonder.
I can see it too. It works.
and then Brett Keen, a manatee in a bat costume.
All right. Well, now that we've gotten through the relevant part, the show is over. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. We've gotten this far through it. If anybody wants to drop out, they can. But I'm gonna watch this all the way through.
Aidan.
Yes, Steve.
I have a question for you because you are the ultimate purveyor of the lore surrounding Brett Keen.
That's true. Let me take a puff from my corncob pipe really quick while you ask me this. Go ahead. Yes.
Frank asked in the YouTube chat, where is it? Yeah. So when did they start calling him the manatee? What was the deal with that?
So that is an innovation from the Drunken Peasants. So there was a video, I think it was, that would have been late 2014, early 2015. The Drunken Peasants were doing a coverage of one of Brett's videos, and he was laying in his room on his bed. Like, if you watch any of Brett's old videos, you can literally see him just laid out in his bed with his feet kicking in the background. And in this particular video they were covering, he had a bluish, kind of purplish, kind of like filter on him. And TJ commented on that. He was like, he looks like a fucking manatee right now. And after that, the fans just kind of ran with it. And they actually had a contest on the show back in the day where they had to draw Brett as a manatee contest. And it was pretty good. It produced some pretty good results for the time. I hope
to nickname somebody so well that they have a drawing contest of their nickname.
Right?
That would be
the thing. That's the thing about Brett is that he's so angry at the way that he's like at his legacy, at the way he's been portrayed. But dude, if the people made drawings about me and made songs about me, and like, that's a legacy. Maybe it's not the best one, but that is a legacy, that people spent that much time to care enough about you to write music and make art about you and shit like that. Like, I wouldn't be nearly as angry about it as Brett if I was in his particular situation. But hey, that's me.
Manatee man, lays on his bed like a manatee can. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't.
He's half dead.
He's a manatee man.
I never helped him out like that or anything, but no, he became a nasty YouTube troll. I think he is an actual troll.
Yeah, that's true. I've never had serious debates with Kent Hovind where I talked about issues with him and held my own, and no, I never had that. I never had plenty of conversations with you, Steven, where you and plenty of your other flunkies have tried at the same time to like bombard me with a whole bunch of questions to try and get me on something, and it just totally blows up in your face. No, I'm just a troll. That's all I am. It's just so ridiculous. Like, I've never understood these guys' approaches to that. Like, anybody who knows me even a little bit on this platform knows that that's not true. So what's the point in saying that besides to just perpetuate a narrative to a small group of people who already believed that to begin with?
Well, he was friendly at first. I almost felt like he was almost like a bro. There was a close conversation going on there.
Yeah, I was friendly to you, Brett. I'm always friendly. That's the thing, though, Brett and Steven. There's never been a single person in this community who I just started out overtly hostile towards. Like, I've never treated anybody just unfairly for no reason whatsoever. And if somebody has an example to the contrary, I'd love to hear it. But I'm pretty damn sure that nobody could produce one of me just being hostile to somebody for no reason. And you're no exception, Brett. I knew all of the horrible shit that you did prior to starting to go into your rooms and hang out and, start to associate with you one-to-one on YouTube. I knew all of that before.
I'm not sure that rule holds true with Lupin, but just about everybody else.
I disagree. If you go back and you watch the what was it? The Bullen's, it's Big Bad Mama's video. It's not Bullen's bullying. It's the initial one where Gigi got bullied on Proverbs Guy's channel. Lupin tried defending Proverbs Guys in the fallout of that. And I address all of his points in that video, but I never go after him personally. I never say anything to undermine his character or anything like that. I only started doing that after he started going after Mark the way that he did. After he started making those, you have blood on your hands comments. Trying to act like he was a murderer of that child and all that crap. That's when I really started going off on Lupin. No, I feel like I do genuinely try to give everyone a fair shake on this platform. And Brett is no exception. But, as I'm sure we'll hear, I just irrationally turned against him one day for no reason. Let's hear it.
And this was before the whole, I'm not going to mention full names, but the Mark thing and all that stuff with Kent. Me and him were getting along fine, it seemed like. Well, what happens is he starts telling me, man, I'm having it bad. He says, I'm disabled and I don't know.
I'm disabled. I'm incapable of doing anything for myself whatsoever. I shit in a bag every single day. That's what he said to me, And I was just like, wow, you really were just a worthless piece of shit, weren't you, Wade? Wow. He was like, yeah, I really was, Brett. But I still took pity on him anyway, and I paid him money.
Wow, what a genuine portrayal, Brett. Wow.
What to do about money to save my house and all this and my girlfriend. And
you know who did run a scam to save their house, Brett? Because I do remember somebody back in the day, they asked for $3,000 to save their home from a shady landlord and being evicted. Oh, wait, that was you, Brett. You had that exact thing, except when people looked in to your livelihood, you know, like people would be if they were curious about somebody who was asking for that quantity of money, and they found out that you have an Amazon wish list whose total amounted to $3,000, the exact amount you were asking for to save your home. And it had a whole bunch of crap on it, like World of Warcraft subscription time and a laptop and all of these different accessories for that laptop. Like just a whole bunch of really necessary things that you need to keep feeding your family with. You know, I can really tell that this guy is a good authority on people that have ran scams and screwed people over. Because somebody who provably was in a bad, horrible situation, no, I was the one that was really trying to screw people over. Good point.
Aiden, do me a favor. Remind me to never piss you off.
No, you need to understand, Dustin. You need to get it. It's me. I'm the bad person.
I get it. No, I fucking get it, dude. You walk 5 miles out of your way just to prove a fucking point. I just remind me to never piss you off. Don't you fucking blackball me here. You know you know exactly where I was going with that.
I do. Of course I do. You shithead. I'd be elbowing you in the ribs right now if I was there in person.
Yeah,
and I do it in nothing but jest.
And I basically did an entire video just for him, a show where I asked for people to donate money.
You did a whole show, really?
Save Aiden Fund, everybody. Come on, we're going to do a 10-hour donation drive in the situation. Everybody try to reach into your pocketbooks and save Aiden's home.
That's what happened. It's true.
To this guy, I made it clear he's an atheist, and they donated tons of money to him and saved his ass.
That is true. I got about $800 just for total transparency's sake, because I have no problem being transparent about this. I got about $800 from that, from a whole bunch of people, but one of them were people from Brett's audience. One of them.
And Brett took credit like that money came out of his own pocket. Now all of a sudden it was a charity. That's some fucking horseshit.
Oh, dude, this is just Brett's classic MO. He always talks out of both sides of his mouth. He always tries to convey it like he hopes that you just don't notice the contradiction, that you don't notice the slip up, but it's always there, lurking in the background.
And then he turns around, goes over to Mark's channel and starts rapping on me.
Oh, really? Really? That's what happened? Because I specifically seem to remember, Brett, that you screwed Mark over. You were talking a whole bunch of trash on Mark when he was talking a bunch of trash on Kent. And when you started flip-flopping on Kent, Mark said to you, hey, Brett, why are you flip-flopping on Kent? Why aren't you standing behind the fact that Kent is a bad person for enabling all of these PDF files and enabling all these horrible people for doing the things that they did? Well, Mark just asked for Brett to stand on principle, and Brett did what he always does when people hold his feet to the fire, which is start making backbiting bullshit comments about it. All of a sudden, Mark wants to do a stream. Surprise, surprise, Mark wants to do a stream about Brett and try to call out Brett for making backbiting bullshit comments. And what do? Like the horrible, conniving son of a bitch that I am, I called Brett on the phone and I said, hey, Brett, Mark is doing a stream and he wants you to go on the stream. I'm going to go on the stream and I'm going to talk with Mark.
Mark Reed, Mark?
No, Mark Stoney. Mark
Stoney, okay.
Yeah, just for clarification. And I told Brett, literally on the phone before I even went on the stream, I was like, hey, I'm going to go on there. I'm going to talk with Mark about you. And I'm only going to tell him the straight up truth of things that I know about him. And I wish the stream was still up, but Mark deleted it like he deleted everything on his channel when he just kind of stepped away from the internet. But I'm sure I could ask him for the video if I really needed to prove this. I was on that stream and I wasn't talking any trash on Brett. I wasn't trying to totally just lay the smack down on him. If Mark asked me a question about Brett and his past, I would tell him what I knew and I wouldn't sugarcoat it and I wouldn't bullshit it. I would just tell it how I knew it. And Brett cannot deal with that because, as I said before, anything that could even be slightly perceived as being anti-Brett, he is not going to have it. He's going to smack that shit down.
and he's going to make sure that you know that he thinks you are the worst person on the goddamn planet for doing it. So that's the narrative now. I just went behind his back and talked all this shit about him on Mark's show. Not even close to what happened.
It's hateful.
That's true.
Yeah.
It is hateful, the bullshit and lie like you just did, Brett. I agree.
And it's really uncalled for because it sounds like you were really good to him. And you guys were really close for a long time. So that was really bizarre.
Jesus, Steven, dude, like I never thought Steven was that big of a nut swinger, bro.
Dude, he's just hanging on as much as he can for dear life here. Like he knows, and he knows more about this than he's letting on here. Steven was around for the tail end of this story that I'm talking about. When this whole falling
Steven
out
knows
between Brett happened, he knows about the actual truth of the matter, but he's just willfully ignoring it.
He's got his fingers into everything. He probably knows things about me I don't even know about. I don't know how he does it either. He'll like I remember asking myself all the time, where did you come up with this shit? Where? Like I don't know who's telling you these things.
Bolin has got his fingers in everything except his own wallet to pay for his child support.
Damn. Claude pulling out the big guns. All right. Everybody, by the way, I see we've got 12 likes on the stream, and that is fantastic. But if you have not liked the stream and you're enjoying what you're watching, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. And with that being said, we're going to try and finish this out before Big Bad Mama's medication kicks in and he has to go nap time. So
Too late.
Try to fix that.
I cared about him like a little brother and all that. When he did that, it did bring a tear or two to my eye. And
a tear or two to your eye. Yeah, you're real torn up about it, weren't you, Brett? It really aggrieved you when you found out that I was able to make money for an actual legitimate cause, whereas you can't make a single dime trying to grift people for all they're worth on the internet. I'm sure that did bring a tear or two to your eye.
to see such animosity and disgustingness. That's why I just can't be around him anymore. It's not because he's smart and clever and can say some.
Then why are you bringing that up, Brett? I'm like, where's that coming from? It's really weird that you bring that up apropos of nothing.
He's got to hit you where he thinks it's going to hurt you, bro.
Oh, you're right. I am dumb. I'm well known to really value my intellect. I'm not somebody that's well known to like constantly drag myself through the dirt and be super self-critical. I mean, he can try, but when you grow up blind in one of your eyes, you basically hear all the shit you're going to get within like the first 6 years of primary school. So I really haven't ever been hit where I live.
Is that really noticeable about you? Like how
it's
would
not
somebody
noticeable
know?
about me. It's one of those things where you tell the friend and then you have a falling out with that friend and he tells other people and then it gets out to the wider group of people that, you know, you're blind in one of your eyes. So it just becomes a constant deluge of shit. So when you have to deal with that when you're growing up, it's really hard for somebody like Brett to come around and hit you where you live when you've already basically heard everything that can be come up with about you said to you at a formative age. So he can try. I applaud him for trying, but it's not going to work.
I always kind of held Canada to a higher standard when it came to bullying. But I guess I'm.
Oh, dude, there's bullies everywhere, bro. It doesn't matter where you are. There's always going to be people. I mean, I was a bully for a while as well, because unfortunately, it's one of those things where you deal with that and then you take it out on other people, you know, because I mean, that's a whole other can of worms for another day. But
I was
I'm
a
sure
straight
Brett-
crook to some people.
Oh, dude. I mean, when you deal with some shit that life throws at you, you're not always necessarily going to deal with it the right way. But that's a story for another day.
Fingers. It's sad to see somebody that you care about just stick the blade in. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like what you've done to so many people over the time. And anybody here? All right. So Brett used to know somebody by the name of Happy Cabby. Happy Cabby was a guy who used to make videos on YouTube, pretty similar to Brett's. They were vlog style videos, kind of talking about his life and sharing his experiences and things like that. And Brett was supposed best friends with Happy Cabby for years on end. Then all of a sudden, a rumor got started in the community that Happy Cabby was a PDF file. Turns out it wasn't true. There was no evidence to indicate, or at the very least, there was no evidence to indicate that it was true whatsoever. And people looked. People looked up, down, left, right, and center to try and find anything. And in a society where it's innocent until proven guilty, I'll err on the side of innocent because there was no evidence ever found for this. But because it was a drama farming-esque kind of opportunity, Brett Keane jumped on that bandwagon and started saying, yeah, I think Happy Cabby was a PDF file. I think he was doing all these horrible things with all these different underage people and situation. He literally dragged his name through the mud. And then after he died, then all of a sudden he went back to being my good buddy Happy Cabby, R.I.P., my good one true friend on this website. Like, this guy is talking about sticking the blade in when he has literally dragged people through the mud in the worst way possible. Ugh, what a piece of garbage.
Yeah, I do. What about Adam Lohr? Do you still talk to Adam Lohr?
I don't know if Adam Lohr is still alive or if he even exists anymore. I was gone for a while and didn't receive any emails for him, but I remember the last...
Can we get a welfare check on Adam Lohr? Can somebody... Mr. Mod, can you email? Can we get proof of life, please? Because apparently Brett is just out there like, yeah, he could just be in a ditch somewhere for all I fucking know of the situation. Wow, what a charitable representation of a guy that Brett literally considered. Once again, one of Brett's quote-unquote good friends. For over a decade now, Adam was like one of Brett's biggest hangers-on. Brett was in the same position that Steven is in this video. Or sorry, Adam was in the same position that Steven was in this video. For years and years, he was Brett's ball washer. Oh yeah, I'm going to be your resident atheist so that you can say that you're a friend with one atheist, so not all atheists are pieces of garbage, but now he just thinks of him as a piece of shit. He doesn't want to associate with him because that's Brett.
Last time I talked to him, he told me several times he was having some serious health issues. So I don't know. I said, are we talking life or death serious? And he said, yeah. So I haven't seen him since I've been back. I hope he's okay.
Are you still close with any of the people that you had relationships with from YouTube back from like 2020?
I don't, it's more of with a lot of people, it's more of an association type of thing. It's like they'll talk to you when you do a live show or whatever, but they're not over here having barbecue or anything with me.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But do you think it's all of their faults, or do you think some of them just caught you on bad
Nobody
days?
will bring over a whole pig for you.
I think some people caught me on a bad day.
What was that, Doesn't?
They said nobody will bring a whole pig over for me and put it on the spit and have something to snack on it. Barbecue. We haven't had a good barbecue around here in a long time.
It's been 3.5 minutes since you filled the trough, Brett. Get in here.
Right, I don't want this slop. It's not no barbecue. You better get in here and refill it. Fucking Jesus Christ.
You better blend it
It's
up
like-
this time. My toothless ass can't chew worth of shit.
Jesus. It's like, oh,
Never mind the
What?
fact that I was fucking a toothless wonder in my early 30s. That's not a fucking disgusting fact about me at all, the situation.
Some. I think that there are times where I make it clear when I'm talking about my personal life. I deal with severe depression, and I also, some days I'm feeling really good and I can take on the world.
This is one of the things as well, and I'm sorry, I will let it play out after this one more thing. I will try to let it play out more. But
some people I know have talked about like, oh, well, you guys, maybe Brett has done bad things before, but he has depression and he has anxiety and he suffers through all of these issues. So do you really think it's necessary to drag him in the dirt the way that you do? And it's like, having depression and anxiety is not an excuse to be a piece of shit, last I checked. It's not an all-access pass to just go around and treat everybody that you know like absolute shit. So I don't buy that. Just because you're dealing with issues does not mean that you're just exempt from criticism.
World other days, just looking at me wrong is a bad move. It is what it is. I try to warn people about it, especially people I care about.
Yeah, amen to that. Well, Brett, do you want to go ahead and, as we start wrapping this up, do you want to plug your channels and tell people where to find you, where to access you on your website, the albums you have, albums you're working on? Go ahead and plug your stuff.
All right. Well, if you look up there, you'll see X, Brett Keane Show right there. That's my my Twitter. They call it X now. And you see YT.com.
Oh, is this just a social media plug? All right, fuck it. We've gotten everything of worth out of this video, I think. I think we've extracted everything that we can from this. But
come watch my hours of useless content and absolutely I am like the McDonald's of YouTube and X. You can come and eat all kinds of food and gain weight and never understand how or why. You won't get any smarter, but you'll definitely lose some IQ points.
You're much like going to McDonald's. You'll find that you're empty of any actual filling within an hour, and your wallet will be the exact same. So,
but you'll find yourself in line for seconds for some reason.
That is true as well. That is true as well. Well, Gigi, I don't know if you're out there right now, buddy, but if you wouldn't mind joining, because I don't think I can end it. And if I can, I'm not familiar as far as how.
I think if everybody just dips out, it'll close.
But I can't end the show. You know what? It might close if everybody dips out. So with that being said, I'm going to close this. I've had quite a bit of fun covering this. Big Bad Mama, Dustin, AJ, I know that you had to take off, but if you're still listening to this afterwards, Deviant, Claude.
Yay!
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, there's CG. Thank you. I had
Thanks,
a blast.
Gigi.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We need to. There's Gigi. We need to do this more often.
So next time we can talk about Haven again.
Hey, this was a nice change of pace. All right, everyone's
Haven's ring is dropped off. So
yes.
So did Sandra.
Oh. Sandra's gone.
Gigi,
She just dipped
thank you
out.
for doing this, buddy. I hope you have a good night. Everybody, have a good night.
Night. Have a good one, Aiden. It was good talking with you, bud. Bye.
Same here.
Take care, everyone. Love you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.